Long family in a thatched courtyard. Long family in a thatched courtyard. Now that Long Fei had recovered his identity, he did not change his location. It was quiet in the back mountain. He was too lazy to switch to a large house. Furthermore, Jojo was enough to serve him. Long Fei cultivated in a technique. Toting skill, Dragon Salyer technique. He knew in his heart. On the surface, the Three Pillars family had calmed down, but they were waiting for the message from the Nangong residents. Once that letter arrived, the three powers would surely launch a violent counterattack. And Long Fei was also waiting. He was waiting for the Long family's army, and he also sent the leopard girl and Xiaobai back to let her lead the Long family's army, and even change some plans. This was a temporary change in his plan when he heard about the Long family situation at the city gate. Kill! Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Asterisk Long Fei slashed out and the dragon chop's blade chi shot out. The blood-colored atmosphere and the flame blade chi fused together as one. A void appeared in midair. The blade aura was also overlaid by 205 slashes. After the Dragon Salyer technique had broken through to the third level, the overlapping numbers became more difficult. It was the same for Long Fei, but he needed to accumulate a large amount of proficiency, but the amount of proficiency S needed to level up to level 4 required 80,000 proficiency S, which was simply too difficult to cultivate. For the next 4 days, Long Fei practiced his techniques. The alchemy technique and the talisman technique also did not fall. Using the wild mountain devil spirit blood to refine 3 high-quality talismans, the fire-type spiritual herbs that he brought back were pretty much done. Long Fei concocted some by himself and gave a rest to Long Zhanhai to process. And then again, the dragon blood of the ice fire dragon had also allowed Long Zhanhai to break through the war elder realm. The Long family was making all the preparations. At night, Long Fei stood in the courtyard and muttered, "It should be about time. This battle, we must slaughter the Three Pillars' spirit cleanly so that they will never have a chance to rise again." Long Fei secretly clenched his fists. Whoosh! Xiaobai landed in the courtyard. "Master, we're back." At the entrance of the courtyard, the leopard girl also walked in. When she saw Long Fei in the courtyard, she immediately giggled and said, "Big brother Long Fei." Long Fei was overjoyed. The boulder in his heart also fell. "How have you been on the road?" The leopard girl laughed. "In all right. According to your orders, the Long family army disguised themselves as commoners and infiltrated the Fireglass City. They are currently resting at various places, and if there is any sound from the Long family, they can rush over within 10 minutes to provide support." "All right," Long Fei shouted excitedly. At this moment, he was completely relieved. Relying on him, Long Sanfeng, and Long Zhanhai alone, it would be difficult for them to defend the Long family. Now that the 10,000 dragon army had arrived, there was no need to be afraid anymore. Now they just had to wait for Three Pillars and the rest to come looking for them, and then shut the door and beat them up. Jojo walked out and saw the leopard girl. Young master, who is she? Such a good figure." Long Fei looked at the leopard girl again. There was nothing else on his body. This was not the primordial forest. He immediately said to Jojo, "Jojo, bring her a set of clean clothes to change into." Dressed like this, if he walked out in broad daylight, he would definitely cause a traffic jam. The rate of return was absolutely 100%. The leopard girl's figure was extremely sexy, and the wild aura she gave off could enchant a person to death, making men feel an intense desire to conquer her. The leopard girl giggled and walked to Jojo's side, politely saying, "Hello, my name is Leopard Girl." Jojo also giggled. "My name is Jojo." The leopard girl said, "So you're Sister Jojo?" Jojo was startled. "You know me?" When she said Sister Jojo, she was even more elated. The leopard girl said, "Big brother Long Fei, I often talk about you, and even when I'm dreaming, I remember your name." "Huh?" Long Fei grinned and muttered, "When did I dream?" Jojo was even more elated. He pulled the leopard girl and walked inside, saying, "Don't bother with young master. I'll bring you to change your clothes." In the room, "Your chest is so big. Wow, your figure is too good. Did the young master do anything to you?" "No," Jojo exclaimed. "Is he even a man? Can he even endure this?" I really didn't think that young master's mental strength would be so strong. The two girls chatted merrily. Long Fei started to wander in the courtyard. Every so often, Shadow would join the chat. Now he finally knew what it meant by 3 women in a play. If they didn't have a good chat, it was more than just a play. The entire stage was going to be played by them. Sigh. Long Fei still wanted to ask more about the Long family's army, but looked like he had no way of asking. Looking at the 3 people who were chatting passionately, Long Fei smiled and swiftly rushed to his grandfather's courtyard. "All right," Nangong Lei shouted excitedly. His face flushed red. He said, "That's great. Nangong Jun has achieved complete victory. There are no longer any Long family army in this world." "Ha ha! Without the Long family's army, the Long family won't have a last resort. Long Fei, I want to see how you can act so arrogantly." Nangong Lei was very excited. Taking out the letter Nangong Kun wrote himself, he firmly believed it. He could not help but feel excited when he thought of how the army that was currently stationed at the Wulong Valley was his Nangong army. In the lobby, Zhuge Tian and Li Chongtian also became happy, but their hearts turned cold. The Long family's army had already been annihilated by the Nangong Imperial clan. In that case, the power of the Nangong Imperial clan was much stronger than before. Even without an expert from the War Master Ream, he could not be underestimated. The black-robed elder smiled slightly and said, "Your Highness, the chance has come." Nangong Lei immediately asked, "Teacher, what plans do you have?" The black-robed old man rolled his eyes and said, "There are still 10 days before the banquet of Forbidden Peak. At that time, the Imperial family will definitely invite the young talents of the Fireglass City, and Long Fei will definitely be among them. When Long Fei leaves, the gigantic dragon will naturally leave with him. Then the only ones left in the Long family are Long Sanfeng and Long Zhanhai, the 2 severely injured people, and the dragon family's trash half-disciples." At that time, Nangong Lei laughed. Zhuge Tianlong and Li Chongtian also laughed, and both of them thought to themselves, "This person is too sinister." Nangong Lei laughed. "Once Long Fei leaves, the Long family's defenses will become empty. I don't believe that I can't kill the Long family." Immediately, Nangong Lei shouted, "Men!" A guard walked in. Nangong Lei said, "Ride on my Fergana horse and head to the headquarters of the Nangong army, and have him bring all the 10,000 over Nangong army over to Fireglass City. As for General Nangong Kun, let him stay put and just stay in Dragon Mountain Valley." Nangong Lei thought for a while. The Long family had just been recruited, so their morale was definitely not stable. At this time, Nangong Kun had to guard Dragon Valley, just in case. Table of contents. Yes, sir. The guard took Nangong Lei's weapon talisman and left anxiously. Nangong Lei laughed. "This is called double insurance. This time I will definitely trample the Long family to death. I want to avenge my father's death." The moment Nangong Bing arrives, "Long Fei, your time of death is up. Thank you. All brothers, thank you for your rewards. Thank you for saving today, Chapter 10, plus Chapter 5. Tomorrow, we will continue Chapter 10. The better the subscription, the more updates there will be, so I'll have to ask my brothers to come and buy it. Thank you very much. 8_8419/2356490. Young Master, as you expected, Nangong Lei sent people to the Nangong Army headquarters. It should be to send people from the main camp back to Fireglass City to deal with our Long family. Young Master, as you expected, Nangong Lei sent people to the Nangong Army headquarters. It should be to send people from the main camp back to Fireglass City to deal with our Long family. Long Shan had been camouflaging himself in front of the doors to the Nangong Imperial Manor. The moment he saw the Fergana horse, he immediately understood and returned to report to Xiang Longfei. Long Fei's mouth drew back and muttered, "Seems like Nangong Lei will not make his move anytime soon. He is waiting for Nangong Jun." If that's the case, his brain was working really fast. And then, Long Fei's eyes were startled, and he muttered, "Banquet of Forbidden Peak. They must want to take action on that day." Long Fei laughed coldly and said, Nangong Lei, you are truly treacherous. You want to make a move after I leave the Long family and take all the profits with one hand? Haha. Long Fei immediately said, Long Shan, go back to Dragon Mountain Valley. As long as the Nangong army camp makes the slightest movement and takes over the headquarters of the Nangong residents after they leave, I will make sure that Nangong Lei has no chance of turning the situation around. The bottom of the iceberg? Let's see who's going to draw their salary then. Longshan immediately said, I'll go right now. Finished. Long Fei walked toward his grandfather's courtyard once again. Boom. Boom, boom. A burst of power exploded from Long Sanfeng's body. The stronger power merged into his body, and the aura on his body became even stronger. Long Fei said excitedly, Congratulations, grandfather. You've broken through again. Long Sanfeng was also incomparably excited. In just a short span of 4 days, he broke through once again and said, Xiao Fei, thank you so much for your dragon blood. Long Zhanhai also walked in and said with a flushed face, Father, also broke through? Ha ha, I just had a breakthrough in level 2 War Elder. Xiao Fei, I really have to thank you for bringing that huge dragon back. Long Zhanhai said happily. There are already 10 disciples of the Long family that have broken through the War Chief realm. All of this was thanks to the dragon blood of ice and fire. To the Long family, dragon blood was like a precious treasure. Long Fei was incomparably happy in his heart, seeing his grandfather and uncle make a breakthrough. The smile on his face was incomparably happy. Everything that happened was worth it. For the clan, Long Fei could do anything, because he was a member of the Long family. And then, Long Fei said, Grandfather, uncle, it just so happens that you're all here. I have some things to say to you next, and I have never told you about them, because I'm afraid that it will affect your cultivation. Now that you have broken through, I will have to tell you. Long Fei told him about what had happened in Dragon Mountain Valley. The demon army invaded, and Xiao Wudi was killed. The Long family had suffered heavy casualties. Now, they only had around 20,000 left. The matter of Long Lei's betrayal and Nangong Kuin's 30,000-strong army being beheaded was narrated one by one. Long Fei did not say these things at the beginning because he was afraid they would affect their cultivation. What? Long Lei betrayed us. Long Sanfeng's eyes became angry, and a burst of dragon aura burst out from his body. Clenching both his fists tightly, he said, I never expected him to rebel. Long Zhanhai said, Nangong Kuin's 30,000-strong army was killed. 100,000 demon army were defeated. Xiao Wudi was killed. Xiao Fei, all of this was done by you? Long Fei laughed foolishly. It's all because of everyone. Without him, the Long family army no longer existed. Long Sanfeng let out a heavy breath, looked at Long Fei, and said sincerely, Xiao Fei, it's been hard on you. They could understand how hard it was. The dignified Long family patriarch didn't do anything. He looked at Long Fei and said, Xiao Fei, just hand over the Long family's banner to... Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Long Fei immediately said, Grandfather, uncle, I really cannot bear the burden of the Long family's banner. Moreover, I like freedom. He really didn't want to be tied down. What he pursued was the peak of martial arts. What he pursued was the strongest king. As for managing the Long family, he really didn't have the slightest interest in it. This was the other reason why he had been so focused on making the Long family rise to prominence, making his grandfather and eldest uncle stronger. Now that they had become stronger, Long Fei could easily be a popinjay. Long Fei continued, Uncle, the matter of carrying the banner is none other than you. Don't force me anymore. Without waiting for them to refute, Long Fei immediately changed the topic and said, I received the news that Nangong Lei is going to send the army of Nangong headquarters back to the Fireglass City. He should be here to deal with our Long family. However, you don't need to worry. Just this morning, the 10,000 steel cavalry of the Long family have already secretly returned to the Fireglass City and are guarding around our Long family. As long as the Nangong army appears, we will cripple them. Then it's over. Once the Nangong army is withdrawn, The other 10,000 dragons that are stationed in the valley will occupy this headquarters. The Nangong army will be stripped of everything. Long Sanfeng and Long Zhanhai stared blankly at Long Fei. Was this still a 16-year-old youth? This was something that a 16-year-old youth could think of? He was definitely a military genius. Everything was under his control. They don't have to do anything. Long Sanfeng was shocked. He looked at Long Fei, who was a little unfamiliar, but the Long Fei in front of him was his beloved grandson. He was extremely excited in his heart. Long Zhanhai was about to worship Long Fei. How wonderful. However, Long Zhanhai's brows twitched and said, "Using an army to enter the Fire Glass City is something huge. If the Nangong imperial family were to find out about this, it would cause their heads to fall off." "Haha," Long Zhanhai said excitedly. "I will meet Nangong Ho in secret and let him know that Nangong Lei has secretly dispatched troops to the Fire Glass City. If that's the case, I estimate that Nangong Lei's army will be stopped before they reach the Fire Glass City." Long Fei trembled slightly. He did not think of this and said, "Big Uncle is truly brilliant. To be able to kill by borrowing a knife, this move is too cool." "Ha, ha, 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 ha." The three of them burst out laughing at the same time. Long Sanfeng asked his last question, "Xiao Fei, can you confirm when they will attack the Long family?" Long Fei said, "If my guess is not wrong, it should be the day when the banquet of Forbidden Peak was here. They are still somewhat afraid of the ice and fire draconic beast, so they decided to make their move when I'm not at the Long family's side." "All right, Nangong Lei. This time I will make you unable to return." Long Zhaofeng's eyes were filled with rage as his body began to emit a domineering aura. The next few days were incomparably peaceful. The calm before the storm. The Emperor's palace, the Holy Dragon Mansion Zhuge, and the Li martial arts sect didn't make a single move. Even when the outside world came, they were all stunned by the Long family. However, */float*** life, they knew very well that they were waiting for the arrival of the Nangong army and also waiting for the arrival of the banquet of Forbidden Peak. Everything was so calm. This time, Nangong Lei was confident. He was extremely confident. He must take down the Long family and behead Long Fei. Second day of Berserk, Chapter 1. 8_19/2356491. These few days, other than cultivating his technique, Long Fei was also constantly studying his auxiliary method, symbol technique, alchemy technique, and also refining techniques. Regarding the refining techniques, he had already fused the fire essence to the 9th level. Basically, every time he forged a weapon, as long as it was successful, it would be a top-grade weapon with a fire element in it. In such a long time, Long Fei had not tried refining. And because there are no conditions here, there were more things to be prepared to refine, and Long Fei did not need any weapons right now either. We'll talk about it after the banquet of Forbidden Peak. "Jojo, I'm going out," Long Fei said. Jojo only let out an "oh" and didn't seem to care about him at all. It used to be completely different. Ever since the leopard girl came, the two of them had become one. It was as if he had become an electric light bulb, without any feeling of existence. "Sigh, Long Fei sigh, what world is it?" He smiled and walked towards the main street. Recently, his alchemy needed some special spirit grasses, especially the True Pill. He wanted to improve them, as 500 True Breath was not enough for him right now. He had coincidentally gathered a large pile of fire-attribute spiritual herbs in the Great Desolate Mountain Range. If he added them into the mix, it might cause an even stronger chemical reaction. Half an hour later, Long Fei came to the Fengyuan Merchant Union. It had been 2 months since he had come here, and thinking back to what Lu Feng had said to him the last time, he couldn't help but think of one person. Fu Xishan, the former master of the Fengyuan Merchant Union. Long Fei owed her a lot. If the True Pill was successfully improved, he wanted to give it to the Fengyuan Merchant Union as a repayment to her. When Zhao Air saw Long Fei, he was shocked. "Young Master Long is here. Young Master Long is here." At this moment, the voice of the newly appointed pavilion master, Fu Tianxiu shook as he let out a heavy cough. Zhao Er immediately did not dare to make a sound, as he was extremely afraid. Long Fei walked into the shop and asked, "Zhao Er, where is Elder Lu?" Fu Tianxiu said coldly, "Lu Feng is at the alchemy in the backyard. If you have anything you want to say it to me." His eyes were cold. Moreover, his eyes were filled with disdain. Long Fei looked at the scene in his heart and was a little displeased, saying, "I only wish to speak with Elder Lu about my matters. I am not interested in the others." It's true that Elder Lu is an alchemy master, but he never needed his own alchemy. Why does he need alchemy now? It must be because the guy in front of us is wearing small shoes. Fu Tianxiu snorted and said, "Since you have no interest, then please leave the Fengyuan Merchant Union." Long Fei's forehead turned sinister. Fu Tianxiu sneered. "What? Still not leaving? Do you want me to let the dogs drive you away?" Cluck, cluck. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly, feeling even more unhappy. If it wasn't for the fact that Lu Feng and Fu Xishan had been good to him, he would have instantly slapped the self-righteous fellow in front of him until he couldn't find his bearings. Huff! Long Fei's fist loosened, and he turned to leave. But right at that moment, Fu Tianxiu coldly said, "Leave the purple gold membership card on you. People like you are not qualified to have the purple gold membership card of the Fengyuan Merchant Union." I really wonder what this brainless woman, Fu Xishan, is doing. Is there something wrong with your head? Suddenly, Long Fei disappeared in place. Pa! The slap fiercely smashed down, directly slapping Fu Tianxiu down from the stairs. The 5-finger marks could clearly be seen. Both of his incisors were dropped, and his mouth was filled with fresh blood. Long Fei condescendingly stood in front of him and said coldly, "It doesn't matter if you say I'm fine, but you can't say Fu Xishan." Fu Xishan was his benefactor. Long Fei would never allow anyone to insult his benefactor. Fu Tianxiu's eyes looked like it was spitting fire, spitting out blood. He crawled up and shouted, "Long Fei, I think you're tired of living. How dare you attack me? Do you know who I am?" Yet another instant. Pa! With a flip of his hand, Fu Tianxiu fell onto the ground again as 2 more teeth popped out from his mouth. It made him cry out in pain. Long Fei squatted down, stared coldly at Fu Tianxiu with eyes filled with killing intent, and said, "I don't care who you are, but if I get angry, I will kill him even if it means death." It was eerie and terrifying. Fu Tianxiu was so scared that his face paled and his body trembled nonstop. He also shouted loudly, black wind, come out and beat this trash who doesn't know his limits out of here." Trash! Long Fei slowly stood up. "Fuck you." He kicked out explosively. Fu Tianxiu was immediately kicked away. "Don't King take my face so seriously." The rage raged. Zhao Er, who was on the counter, was extremely excited and could not help but want to cheer for Long Fei. Lu Feng hurriedly ran out of the pill room. Seeing the half-dead Fu Tianxiu on the ground and seeing Long Fei again, he immediately pulled Long Fei and said, "He's our newly appointed pavilion master, Long Fei. Don't do anything rash. I don't care who he is. If it wasn't for you, I would have already twisted my head off. Damn it." Long Fei once again cursed and said in an extremely displeased tone. Fu Tianxiu crawled up from the ground, his mouth full of blood spitting out. He shouted loudly, black wind, black wind, black wind. Where did you die?" After calling for a long time, no one came out. The old man from the black wind hid in the shadows. The reason why he did not make a move was because Fu Tianxiu deserved to be beaten up. Lu Feng immediately said, "Long Fei is different now. It's better to restrain himself. After all, he is the pavilion master of the Fengyuan Merchant Union and is still Yun Shan's uncle in name." "Is this trash worthy to be Yun Shan's uncle?" Long Fei said in disdain. Lu Feng's brows tightened, and he lowered his voice. "Let's not talk about this anymore. Why are you looking for me?" Although Long Fei was furious, if he had to do something about coming to the Fengyuan Merchant Union, he said, "I want to improve some true pill, but I have a few spiritual herbs. Come here and ask if you have any." "What do you need?" Lu Feng asked, his heart secretly shocked, improved true pill? Can the pill be improved? Others didn't believe it, but he was Long Fei, so Lu Feng didn't dare to not believe it. Anyone with common sense would know that pills could not be improved on simply by saying so. The appearance of every type of pill was a result of hundreds or even thousands of attempts to refine it. Improved pill? This was absolutely impossible. Long Fei then explained the missing spirit grasses. Lu Feng frowned and said, "You need these spirit grasses, They are all extremely strong spirit grasses, and ordinary alchemy masters cannot control them. Are you sure you want these?" It was also at this time. Fu Tianxiu stood up once again and said disdainfully, "Even trash like you want to improve the medicinal pellets? Or are you the true pill of our Fu family?" Sister-in-law 1-/ plus health, strongest upgrade system. Why aren't you paying to take care of yourself? What the hell are you? Long Fei's eyes were filled with anger. Lu Feng instantly grabbed on Long Fei tightly. He knew Long Fei's temper. If he got really angry, Fu Tianxiu would be beaten to death. If Fu Tianxiu died, the Long family would be in big trouble. Chapter 28_8419/2356492. The Fengyuan Merchant Union's power was enormous, and its business was spread throughout the entire Tianwu continent. Moreover, it was guarded by countless experts. Compared to the Fengyuan Merchant Union, the Long family was like an ant or an elephant. The Fengyuan Merchant Union's power was enormous, and its business was spread throughout the entire Tianwu continent. Moreover, it was guarded by countless experts. Compared to the Fengyuan Merchant Union, the Long family was like an ant or an elephant. He couldn't afford to offend him. Long Fei said to Lu Feng, "Elder Lu, you can rest assured that I won't kill him." Looking at Long Fei's serious expression, Lu Feng slowly let go of his hand. "Long Fei, don't do anything stupid." Long Fei smiled faintly, walked to Fu Tianxiu's side and said, "What if I can improve true pill?" Fu Tianxiu sneered, "Brat, if you can improve the true pill, I will kowtow to you and admit my wrongs, but what if you can't? Improve pill? Ha ha!" Fu Tianxiu laughed in his heart, then laughed out wildly. There really is such a fool in this world. Even alchemy masters are unable to improve medicinal pellets. Just with him? Or is it improving my Fu family's top secret medicine, true pill? This is so funny. In his eyes, Long Fei was just a fool who did not know his place, an arrogant trash. A faint sneer still hung on Long Fei's face, and he said, "What do you think we should do?" Fu Tianxiu said coldly, "Kneel down and kowtow for your ancestor and hand over your purple gold card to me. From today onwards, you're not allowed to take even half a step into the Fengyuan Merchant Union, and even more so, you are not allowed to have any connections with Fu Shishan. Otherwise, the Fengyuan Merchant Union will punish your Long family. The result of the punishment is the destruction of your Long family." The more she spoke, the colder Fu Tianxiu's voice became. 2 slaps and 2 stomps of anger churned within his heart. He would definitely not let Long Fei off. Long Fei clenched his fists and sneered. "Fine." Lu Feng didn't even have the time to stop him and said, "Long Fei, you have to consider this carefully. This is a modified pellet, not a refined pellet." Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Fu Tianxiu glared and shouted at Lu Feng, "Scram back to the alchemy." Lu Feng's eyes darkened. He gritted his teeth. Fu Tianxiu immediately followed. "What? Didn't you hear what I said? Shall I say it again? I shout, you scram, return, go, refine, and refine." Each and every word was extremely vicious, especially the one scram. Lu Feng was really unhappy. Facing Lu Feng like this, Long Fei felt even more unhappy, and fury filled his eyes. Fu Tianxiu laughed. "I will teach my servants a lesson. It's not your turn to interfere. Lu Feng, you old thing, do you want to disobey my orders? Don't forget, you're just a dog from my Fu family." Cluck, 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 cluck. Long Fei's joints exploded, his killing intent surged. It was also at this time. Black Wind silently walked out and stood behind Fu Tianxiu. He was blaming himself for protecting the pavilion master, and he could feel the killing intent coming from Long Fei's body. Lu Feng also pulled Long Fei back and said, Long Fei, don't be angry because of me. It's not worth it. Finished. Lu Feng said, I'm going to the alchemy. Fu Tianxiu laughed coldly. That's more like it. To be a dog, one must have the awareness to be a dog. To be a well-behaved dog, huh? Long Fei was truly unhappy. Very unhappy. Lu Feng had been good to him, but now, I actually can't help him. As Long Fei watched him walk into the rear courtyard, his heart tightened. Add another condition. Fu Tianxiu laughed coldly and said complacently, What condition? Long Fei said, I want Elder Lu. Fu Tianxiu was startled, and then immediately laughed out loud. I didn't think that you would be interested in a dog. With that, his voice also changed as he said, Sure. However, I also have a condition that you have to improve your true pill S within 3 days. Improving pills was already an extremely difficult thing to do. It was almost impossible. And now, there was a limit of 3 days, which was even more impossible. Long Fei himself was not confident either. He only felt that it was possible to improve it, but he needed to keep trying. Looking at Fu Tianxiu's pleased expression, Long Fei coldly replied, All right, just 3 days. Ha ha ha. Fu Tianxiu began to laugh loudly. He looked at Long Fei and said, Brat, prepare to kneel down and kowtow to me. And then, Fu Tianxiu warned Zhao Air, Give him all the spirit herbs he wants, but double the price. Long Fei looked at him. Fu Tianxiu laughed. Are you unhappy? You don't accept this? If you're not satisfied, then go to another house to buy some spiritual herbs. Only my Feng Yuan Merchant Union has the spiritual herbs you want. I want to double the price, huh? Long Fei really wanted to smash his head apart with a punch. However, he couldn't, at least not now, because he wasn't strong enough. After killing him, the Feng Yuan Merchant Union would send down another person. And when that happened, the Long family would face the suppression from the Feng Yuan Merchant Union, and the Feng Yuan Merchant Union's power would be like a giant warship, untouchable to him. Strong. Still not strong enough. Fury overflowed within Long Fei's heart as he silently said in his heart, I will definitely make you kneel in front of me. I definitely will. After taking the spirit herbs and paying double the price, Long Fei walked towards his home. Feng Yuan Merchant Union. Fu Tianxiu grabbed a teacup and smashed it on Black Wind's head as he turned around. Where were you when I called you? Where were you when Laozi was beaten up? Bastard, from today onwards, your service time with that old dog Lu Feng will increase by 10 years. This is your punishment. Fu Tianxiu stared at the expressionless Black Wind and said, Are you unconvinced? Huh? Black Wind lowered his head and said, I don't dare. If you don't dare, then scram to the side, you dog. Fu Tianxiu said harshly as he walked out of the Feng Yuan Merchant Union, thinking to himself, All of you, just wait for me. I don't believe you. Fu Tianxiu was fearless. This was because he had the ability to act recklessly. He held a high position in the Feng Yuan Merchant Union. He had great authority, and in the Fire Glass City, he did not only belong to just this alchemy pavilion. There were also many other businesses present, some of which Fu Shishan had not even known about before. This time, he would not let Long Fei go. Very soon, in less than half a day's time, half of the Fire Glass City knew about the bet between Long Fei and Fu Tianxiu. Everyone began to discuss amongst themselves. This news was extremely beneficial to the Nangong Imperial clan. The enemy of the enemy was a friend. Nangong lay asked with doubt in his heart, Does Long Fei know alchemy? The old butler shook his head and said, I have never heard of it. While Long Zhanwu was still alive, there was once news that Long Fei was in the alchemy. Then how can he bet with Fu Tianxiu? Or an improved pill? Nangong Lei was puzzled. He was completely unable to understand Long Fei at all. And then, equals half carrot float hashtag life carrot, he suddenly thought of someone, teacher. The black-robed old man was the master of the Heaven sect. Perhaps. Nangong Lei's mouth curved up, revealing a gloomy and cold smile. He muttered, I have to think of a way to do some stuff on the alchemy and rub Long Fei's spirit. Chapter 38_8419/2356493. Ding, ding, refinery failure. Ding, refinery failure. In the Long family's thatched courtyard at the back of the mountain, Long Fei had been researching ways to improve True Pill ever since he returned from the Fengyuan Merchant Union, and was trying to improve it using spear herbs. Just as Lu Feng had said, the spirit grass was just too strong and could not be controlled. No way, no way. Still not. Every time he failed, Long Fei would stop to ponder over it. He would continuously simulate it in his head and shake his head time and time again. How can I control it? It was really difficult. Improving a pill was not about refining it. It was tens of times more difficult than refining it. Even refining a normal true pill only had a 50% chance of success. Increasing the success rate of the true breath, which had been raised in the true pill, was simply too difficult. For the entire day, Long Fei was defeated. This also allowed his alchemy to rise to the 8th level of the yellow rank. Big brother Long Fei, eat something. The leopard girl walked up and watched as Long Fei stayed by the side of the pill furnace for the entire day. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "You guys go ahead. I'm not hungry." And then, the space between his eyebrows tightened, and he once again fused and controlled the world with the spiritual herbs. Ding! Refinery failure. Ding! Refinery failure. He continued to fail. Long Fei tried more than 100 methods, but they were still ineffective. He was still unable to completely control the powerful spirit force impact from the spirit grass. Is it really impossible? Behind him were 3 women, Jojo, the leopard girl, and the shadow in the darkness. Seeing Long Fei's predicament, they didn't know how to help him. They knew about the bet between Long Fei and Fu Tianxiu, and there were only 2 days left. If they couldn't reform it successfully, Long Fei would have to kneel in front of so many people and kowtow and apologize to Fu Tianxiu. Actually, Long Fei did not take any of these to heart. The only person he was worried about was Elder Lu. Slapping Fu Tianxiu's face was nothing. He just wanted to save Lu Feng. Again, Long Fei once again threw himself into the process of alchemical transformation. True breath activated the fire, causing the spirit liquid to seep out from the spirit grass and fuse together. Ding! Fail! Ding! Fail! He had completely thought of admitting defeat and had never thought of giving up. For Lu Feng, he had to succeed. For the entire night, Long Fei did not rest even a second. Throughout the entire night, Long Fei had not succeeded a single time. Fengyuan Merchant Union VIP Lounge. Nangong Lei smiled slightly and said, "This time, I have to thank Pavilion Master Fu." Fu Tianxiu laughed. No, just a mere trash like Long Fei. Teaching him a lesson would be as easy as lifting a hand. Ha ha, ha ha ha. The 2 of them burst into laughter at the same time. Nangong Lei secretly rejoiced in his heart and said, "Long Fei still has a day and a half left. If you don't succeed in altering the medicinal pellets, you will kneel and admit your wrongs to Fu Tianxiu in front of everyone in the city. At that time, I would really like to see how your Long family will lose face, huh?" The young master of the Long family kowtowed and admitted his wrongs. This was no ordinary matter. This would affect the Long family's influence in the Fireglass City. If he made the right use of it, the Long family's reputation would be greatly tarnished. To Nangong Lei, as long as it was something that could strike at the Long family, no matter how big the matter, he would still participate. Fu Tianxiu smiled and said, "Duke Nangong, don't worry. I've asked the Earth Stage 9th rank Alchemy Grandmaster, and he said that even Heaven Stage Alchemy Masters should not think of improving the True Pill. There's still a day and a half left. He definitely won't succeed." He couldn't guarantee anything else. However, he dared to guarantee the True Pill. No one knew True Pill better than the Fu family, and the current True Pill had already reached the perfect stage. No one has anything to improve on. Long Fei would definitely lose. Nangong Lei laughed and said, "Pavilion Master Fu, for safety's sake, I have an alchemy grandmaster here. At that time, he can verify it himself and let him compete with Long Fei. This will prevent Long Fei from cheating. He had already discussed this matter with the black-robed old man. Fu Tianxiu laughed. Since Duke Nangong is so thoughtful, then when the time comes, I shall ask your palace's alchemy grandmaster to be the judge. He was no fool. Of course, they knew who the alchemy grandmaster in Nangong Lei's home was. It was definitely an expert from the Heaven Sect. He had to get her some face. Nangong Lei laughed. This time I must make Long Fei kneel on the ground and not get up on. Fu Tianxiu also laughed loudly and said, I think exactly the same as your highness. Ha ha. The Nangong imperial clan had yet to arrive. Nangong Lei would never miss a chance to suppress the Long family. After returning to the Duke Palace, Nangong Lei reported to the black-robed old man. The old man in black said lightly, I understand. I will go into closed-door training to prepare. Don't bother me if there's nothing else. Yes, teacher. Nangong Lei and Dongfang Jian were waiting for him in the courtyard. Nangong Yin stepped forward and said, Father, I want to participate in the alchemy competition as well. No way. Nangong Lei did not have any leeway to negotiate and said, There are only 5 days left to the banquet of Forbidden Peak, and in these 5 days, you must improve your cultivation further and obtain the qualifications to enter the Heaven Sect. Dongfang Jian said, Uncle, my father has already said that little sister Yin does not need to take the examination to enter the Heaven Sect. With my father's authority, who would dare to say anything? Nangong Yin already had the Inner Sect Disciple badge. He did not even need to take the examination to become a disciple of the Heaven Sect, and muttered, That's right. Nangong Lei said, Banquet of Forbidden Peak, just because you are the champion, other people have lost a chance. Don't you understand this principle? From now on, Dongfang Jian, you have to make her reach the 5th layer of the Heavenly Sword Technique. You have to shock everyone in Banquet of Forbidden Peak with one move, understand? Dongfang Jian hugged both of his hands and said, Don't worry, uncle. I will definitely give my all to help little sister Yin. Little sister Yin, let's go train in the sword. Even in his dreams, Nangong Yin dreamt of seeing Long Fei kneel and kowtow, but for Banquet of Forbidden Peak's sake, she endured it. Moreover, because he was stomped on by Long Fei the other time at the Long family, Dongfang Jian had completely disregarded the sect rules and passed down to her the sky-level sword technique, heavenly illusion sword art to her. Once this sword technique reached the Mahayana realm, even Long Fei would not be a match for it. Her current cultivation had already broken through to the 2nd level of the War Chief and was already above Long Fei. With this set of heaven-ranked sword technique, she would definitely be able to defeat Long Fei. Long Fei, just you wait. Baidu search. Half afloat, Banquet of Forbidden Peak will be the day of your death. I will make you wish you were dead. Nangong Yin said sinisterly in her heart. She already hated Long Fei to the bones. Even if she couldn't, there was still Dongfang Jian. This time, he wouldn't be as shocked as last time. He definitely wouldn't be. Chapter 48_8419/2356494. Other than Nangong Yin, who is secretly cultivating. Zhuge Tianlong from the divine Zhuge Manor and a few other talented disciples of the Zhuge family were also cultivating in seclusion. Li martial arts sects Li Yi, the geniuses in Fire Glass City were all cultivating in seclusion. For the banquet of Forbidden Peak this time, and to gain the right to enter the Heaven Sect, to be able to receive a generous reward, be highly regarded by the Emperor, and even enter the Heaven Sect, this was a huge leap for any martial practitioner. He absolutely could not miss it. Of course, while the others were cultivating, Long Fei was trying his best to study the pill. For a good 2 days and 2 nights, Long Fei did not close his eyes. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for increasing his alchemy, currently at the 9th level of the yellow rank. F***CK. Long Fei cursed. I had thought that it would be a success. Huff. The last day, Long Fei exhaled. After failing for 2 days and 2 nights in a row, he had finally figured out some tricks. But it was only touching. Success was just as difficult. Long Sanfeng's room. Long Zhanhai frowned deeply, then said, "Father, there is only one day left." Long Sanfeng said, "Long Fei is too stubborn. He can't even pull 10 oxen back if he wants to. It's been 2 days and 2 nights, and he still hasn't rested, not eating a single meal. I'm really worried that he might not be able to take it." They were also worrying about the Long Fei and Fu Tianqiu's powder-making competition. In the history of the Long family, there had never been an alchemy master before, and some were low-level alchemy masters, to say nothing of great masters who could modify medicinal pellets. Long Zhanhai asked, "If Long Fei loses, I must kneel down and kowtow to Fu Tianqiu in front of everyone in the city, admitting my wrongs." Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Long Sanfeng suddenly shouted, "Who dares to make my son kneel? I, lunatic Long, want his life." He was instantly enraged. Long Zhanhai said, "This matter is getting more and more heated up. Nangong Lei is the one pulling the strings from the back. If you make a move, this matter will be infinitely blown up, and at that time, our Long family's reputation will be known." Long Sanfeng's eyes stared, and he said, "How much is reputation worth? Was it as expensive as Long Fei's knee? If you want Long Fei to kneel down, that will not do. I blame the Fengyuan Merchant Alliance for being so-called the Nangong residence. If you anger me, I will tear down the entire Nangong residence." Not like before, was now at the second level of War Master, an existence at the peak of Fireglass City. If they truly pissed him off, he would really do everything he could to cripple one of them. Long Sanfeng had a fiery temper and was extremely protective of his own. Other than that, if anyone dared to bully Long Fei, he would definitely beat them up to the point that they couldn't even crawl back up. Huff, Long Zhanhai secretly thought. I also need to prepare a bit. If anyone dares to make Long Fei kneel and kowtow and admit that he's wrong, I, Long Zhanhai, will be the first to take his life. He was going all out. Ha! Long Zhanhai can't sit still anymore. The Long family is beginning to make their move. The first thing Nangong Lei knew was that the disciples of the Long family were continuously being sent out. He had also sent someone to watch the Long family's gate 24 hours a day. Zhuge Tianlong laughed. This time Long Fei will definitely fall head first. Ha! That's right. Li Chongtian laughed. In the entire history of the Long family, there has never been a person who knew alchemy, even if it was a divine dragon soldier. A trash like Long Fei, who only knows how to break pubes, still wants to change his alchemy. Not only that, but he wants to change his alchemy. Isn't that just courting death? Nangong Lei said confidently, "This time, I will make Long Fei kneel on the ground and not be able to get up. I will make the Long family lose face." Ha! I can't wait. Me too, Long Fei. 8_8419/2356495. A large stage was built at the entrance of the Fengyuan Merchant Union. A large stage was built at the entrance of the Fengyuan Merchant Union. After Nangong Lei's hype for the past 3 days, the entire Fireglass City knew about the bet between Long Fei and his family, which was in the process of improving the suicide pellet, the True Pill S. It caused a huge sensation. As soon as the sky brightened, the area outside the Fengyuan Merchant Union was filled with onlookers. I've never heard of an improved medicinal pill. Even a Grandmaster-level alchemy master would not be able to do it, right? What is Long Fei doing? Why would he even dare to bet with the Fengyuan Merchant Union on something like refining pills? He's too arrogant and conceited. That's right, there hasn't been any alchemy masters in the Long family. He actually wants to improve the top secret pellet True Pill of the Fu family. He's overestimating himself a little. I am afraid that today, I will kneel in front of Fu Tianqiu and kowtow and admit my wrongs. Even if it is the Long family members who are facing the Emperor, they do not need to kneel. Today, Long Fei will be kneeling in front of the Long family. Ha! The crowd whispered amongst themselves. Alchemy Master. In the Tianwu continent, it was a very rare occupation. Alchemy Masters were even more extraordinary existences. If they had Grandmasters who could refine medicinal pellets, then this kind of alchemy master would be an extremely rare existence in the entire Tianwu continent. The Fu family's Fengyuan merchant union started with pills. The true pill was researched and created by the ancestor of the Fu family's alchemy. After the improvement and perfection of countless life alchemy masters, after tens of thousands of years, the current true pill has reached the perfect realm. There was no room for improvement. Moreover, there was no way to improve true pill at all. In this battle, Long Fei was definitely going to lose. In the pavilion, Fu Tianxiu revealed a complacent smile. Listening to the discussions of the crowd, he said complacently, "Long Fei, just give me 2 slaps. Today I will make you kneel on the ground and not get up." Ha! It was a tremendous scene. Fu Tianxiu was extremely satisfied, because this way, the influence of the Feng Yuan Merchant Alliance would advance further during the powder-making competition conference. After changing into a gorgeous set of clothes, he walked down from the pavilion. Seeing the anxious face of Lu Feng, Fu Tianxiu could not help but sneer. "Lu Feng, you can't be hoping for Long Fei to win, right?" Lu Feng's body trembled slightly, but he did not say a word. Fu Tianxiu laughed coldly in disdain and said, "From the looks of it, you want the Fengyuan Merchant Union to lose?" Lu Feng immediately replied, "I don't dare." "Humph! What do you mean you don't dare? You just want Long Fei to win so that you can leave the Fu clan, right?" Fu Tianxiu coldly snorted, "Don't even think about it in this lifetime." Improved true pill. Lu Feng, you dog of a servant, although useless, have the brand of the Fu clan slave imprint on your body. You can forget about getting rid of the Fu clan slave imprint for your entire life. Haha! Fu Tianxiu laughed complacently. Lu Feng clenched both his fists tightly. The mark that had been imprinted on his chest for more than 50 years started to ache faintly now. This was the deepest pain in his heart, and being mercilessly ripped apart by Fu Tianxiu was even more unbearable than taking his life. Actually, he also understood in his heart that Long Fei's alchemy was not bad, but it was impossible to improve any true pill. He knew that Long Fei would lose, but now he hoped that Long Fei could win and take him away. Since Fu Shishan wasn't here, there was no point for him to stay here any longer. Walala! The doors to the Fengyuan Merchant Union opened, and Fu Tianxiu walked out. The entire audience was in an uproar. Pavilion Master Fu is out. Pavilion Master Fu is out. Pavilion Master Fu, may I ask, what are your thoughts on powder-making competition this time? Will Long Fei improve the true pill that your Fu family has researched? Pavilion Master Fu, if Long Fei loses, will he really kneel down in front of you? The people of the Long family don't even need to kneel before the emperor. I heard that Long Fei hasn't left his house for 3 days straight and has been researching alchemy. What if he succeeds? Will you honor your bet and kneel down before him? Just like the reporters in his previous life. Fu Tianxiu slightly smiled and said complacently, "I only want to say one thing. Long Fei will definitely lose if he doesn't want to fulfill the promise of the bet. You all know the power of the Fengyuan Merchant Union. Killing the Long family is only a matter of time." Powder-making competition. The Fu family has never lost. He really had never lost before. The Fu family's research on pills was much more advanced. The Divine Marquis of Zhuge arrived. General Li has arrived. The Duke of Nangong has arrived. The 3 pillars as boss appeared at the same time. 2 rows of bodyguards led the way, their voices resounding loudly, directly creating a path through the dense crowd of people. In the distance, Nangong Lei then stepped forward and said, "Pavilion Master Fu." Fu Tianxiu also took a step forward and said, "Duke Nangong." Nangong Lei said in a low voice, "I received news that Long Fei had been in the alchemy for 3 days and 3 nights straight, and had not succeeded a single time until last night." Fu Tianxiu laughed. Not just anyone can refine true pill. If it wasn't for that brainless woman Fu Shishan giving the pill formula to Long Fei, would a piece of trash like him actually think of refining a true pill? To still want to improve the true pill now, you truly overestimate yourself. Today, let's see how the people from the Long family kneel. Nangong Lei also became excited and said, Pavilion Master Fu, if he doesn't kneel, do you need my help? He was already prepared. Fu Tianxiu laughed faintly. Then I'll be troubling Duke Nangong. He was ready. Immediately, they looked at each other and laughed. The distinguished guest took a seat. The black-robed old man also silently sat in a corner. No one had noticed him, so he was extremely low-key. And then, Fu Tianxiu stood on stage and shouted, Long Fei? Where's Long Fei? Time was up. Did he not dare to show himself? Didn't you act very arrogantly 3 days ago? He's now like a turtle who doesn't dare to come out. Is this how the Long family is like? Fu Tianxiu did not give any face at all. The crowd immediately began to discuss this. That's right. Why haven't the Long family appeared yet? From what I see, Long Fei should be afraid, kneeling before the entire city and making the Long family lose a lot of face. He definitely won't dare to come anymore. That's right. They're coming if they want to. Isn't it courting death to go against the Feng Yuan Merchant Alliance's powder-making competition? Sigh. I thought there would be a good show to watch today, but I'm afraid I won't be able to see it now. Amongst the crowd, Long Zhanhai frowned. He was extremely unhappy to hear Long Fei's words. At the same time, a disciple of the Long family reported, Patriarch, we did not see young Patriarch Long Fei. There is no one in the courtyard. Long Zhanhai trembled slightly and muttered, What is Xiao Fei doing? Equals semi/floating life plus on the street opposite the Feng Yuan Merchant Union in the Hibiscus restaurant. Long Fei started to eat heartily. Hibiscus steam buns are really delicious. Jojo, it's no wonder you like eating the steam buns here so much. Jojo said anxiously, Young master, Fu Tianxiu is already clamoring on the stage. Are you still not going out? If he likes to scream, just let him scream a few more times. I haven't eaten my fill yet. Chapter 68_8419/2356496. For 3 days and 3 nights, he could not bear to not eat or drink. For 3 days and 3 nights, he could not bear to not eat or drink. Long Fei came to the Furong restaurant very early on and started to eat. The leopard girl laid out on the table as she watched Long Fei wolf it down and laughed. However, Jojo was very anxious. Young master, do you think you've succeeded in improving it? This is related to the reputation of the Long family, and I heard that the Grand Elder and the Patriarch are prepared to take action. If anyone dares to force you to kneel, they will make a move. The Long family never kneels to anyone. Long Fei's mouth was stuffed with a bun. He was holding on to 2 buns and looked at the stage not too far away from it. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, Have you guys eaten an Overlord's meal before? Wow, big brother Long Fei. What do you mean by Overlord's dinner? It's very exciting to hear it. Is it delicious? The 2 girls were stunned. At this moment, just then, Long Fei walked to the window and the 2 girls followed. A waiter just happened to pass by and heard them. He immediately rushed into the room, raised his sleeves, and shouted, Innkeeper, someone wants to eat an overbearing meal. Brat, what do you think this place is? You want to eat an Overlord's meal, right? At this moment, carrying one in each hand, Long Fei directly jumped down from the window in the pavilion and shouted, Oh. The shop assistant was dumbfounded. You want to die? A dozen or so waiters rushed into the room with a spatula, an iron pot, a wash basin, and a large radish in their arms. Were the people eating the Overlord's meal? At this moment, roar! A dragon roared. In the instant that Long Fei jumped, ice and fire was summoned and directly caught Long Fei and the other 2 and flew towards the sky. Ha! Big brother Long Fei, you're so handsome. The leopard girl was not afraid at all while standing on the dragon's back. She laughed out loud. Wandering in the sky had always been her dream. However, Jojo was different. She hugged Long Fei tightly and said, Young master, it's too high. Dangerous, it's too dangerous. Ha! A peerless beauty in one hand while riding a giant dragon. Just how domineering was that? At this moment, everyone below the stage was looking up at the sky, completely ignoring Fu Tianxio's blabbering and clamoring. So handsome, riding on a giant dragon and flirting with chicks. This is King hell. This is my dream for so many years. Too handsome. He seems to have married Long Fei. Too handsome. Haha, good boy. Being bewitched to death by a group of young ladies, and how the young geniuses who disregarded everything were jealous enough to spurt fire. Long Fei was too cool. Who could be so flamboyant as him? Other people's mounts are at most low-level monsters. What is he riding? It was an incomparably tall dragon. Everyone was discussing Long Fei. This made Fu Tianxio extremely unhappy. His voice sunk as he roared at Long Fei, who was still in the air pretending to be cool. Long Fei, are you trying to escape? If you dare to run away, then you will lose. If you don't fulfill the bet, then your Long family will be punished by the Fengyuan Merchant Union. I will make your Long family. Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei moved. Ice and fire. The ice-fire dragon roared loudly and said, "Understood." Suddenly, Long Fei grinned and laughed excitedly. Sit properly. The ice and fire suddenly retracted its wings and swooped down vertically. Jojo's 4 limbs hung from Long Fei's body, and he started to shout loudly, "Young master, it's dangerous, it's dangerous." The leopard girl was also incomparably wild. She even wanted to dance on the dragon's back. One was fanaticism, the other fear, just like ice and fire. Of course, there was another shadow. Long Fei laughed uncontrollably and said, "Others would faint, but you would pass out. He's here. He's here. Everyone, quickly get out of the way. That giant dragon is about to fall." The arena was in a state of panic as it watched the colossal dragon spin in the air and plummet to the ground. The dragon was about to destroy a person and kill a person. Fu Tianxio was also extremely frightened as he was forced to retreat. This was the first time he had seen a true dragon, and the shock in his heart was incomparable. The faces of Nangong Lei, Zhuge Tianlong, and the others also changed drastically. The dragon's influence was too great. They knew that Long Fei was acting cool in their hearts, making them extremely unhappy, but they didn't have the slightest temper. The more unhappy people were, the more Long Fei liked to do it. As long as others were unhappy, he would be satisfied. It was just like Nangong Yin. The more she wanted to cancel the engagement, the less she wanted to break it off, the angrier she got. Boom! Bang! With a loud noise, the ice and fire firmly landed on the stage. As he spread out his wings, his body seemed to become many times larger as his 2 golden eyes stared fixedly at Fu Tianxio, who was not far away from his feet. It was also at this time the ice fire was enraged, and it let out a fierce roar. Woo! Fu Tianxio was so scared that he directly fell to the ground, his body trembling nonstop, cold sweat pouring down like rain. He was scared to the point of peeing. The leopard girl flipped over in the air and landed beside Long Fei. She giggled, "Big brother Long Fei, it's really too much fun." Jojo's face was pale as she said, "I won't play anymore." 2 women. Any one of their beautiful faces was stronger than Nangong Yin by a bit. The leopard girl's wildness and Jojo's gentleness, the 2 of them standing by Long Fei's side, made countless of boys and girls despair. Damn. Giant dragon. All the women were taken by him alone. I hate you. What the hell do you hate? I hate it. Why is it that the one sitting on the dragon's back isn't me? You, a fatty over 200 gene in weight, will definitely crush that dragon. Long Fei patted his fire and ice. Ice and fire fiercely rose into the sky until it disappeared, and then also entered Long Fei's mount space. Long Fei walked to Fu Tianxio's side, looked at his wet crotch, and said, "Yo, Pavilion Master Fu, you scared to the point of peeing?" The leopard girl pinched her nose and said, "Big brother Long Fei, you're still spitting out feces from fright. So smelly, so smelly." Long Fei shouted loudly, "Pavilion Master Fu has been scared to the point of spitting out feces. To the point of spitting out feces. It's really smelly. Pavilion Master Fu, did you eat feces last night?" The leopard girl pulled Jojo and said, "Sister Jojo, let's go quickly. This place is so smelly. Even such a big person was scared to the point of pooping. It's really unsanitary." Many people below the arena burst into laughter. I was scared shitless. Ha ha. The Feng Merchant Union is too cowardly. http:// laughing my ass off. Fu Tianqiu's eyes were blazing with fire. As if he had been slapped ruthlessly by Long Fei, his eyes locked on a Long Fei, and said while grinding his teeth, "Long Fei, I will let you have an easy time later. Prepare to die." Right now, he wanted to kill Long Fei. Chapter 78_8419/2356497. It was as if he was a cruel person with bone marrow. It was as if he was a cruel person with bone marrow. Fu Tianqiu wanted to kill Long Fei immediately. But he couldn't. He wanted Long Fei to never be able to recover. He wanted to kneel and admit his wrongs in front of everyone. And he wanted to step on Long Fei's head and slap his face before Long Fei. Only by doing this would he be able to vent the anger in his heart. His heart was filled with incomparable rage. Fu Tianqiu stood up, and feces and urine continued to flow from under his pants, giving off a foul stench. Long Fei laughed and said, "Pavilion Master Fu, your feces are flowing out, huh?" Fu Tianqiu's eyes turned sinister. The muscles at the corner of his eyes twitched, and he said coldly, "Laugh, laugh, you'll cry later." And then, Fu Tianqiu said coldly, "Long Fei, 3 days are up. Where is your improved true pill? Take it out." Long Fei pinched his nose. "I'm not talking to a person whose crotch was still shitting. Take a look, you see, and see for yourself. Another pile of his flowing out." Poochie. Ha ha, ha ha ha. Everyone below the arena was overturned with laughter. Many people looked at the bottom of Fu Tianqiu's trousers, where a pile of feces had really fallen. It was simply too funny. "You." Fu Tianqiu glared at Long Fei and said, "I ask you." Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Long Fei immediately interrupted him and said, "I won't be talking to a person with a butt and poop. Pavilion Master Fu, if you're scared to the point of pooping, you'll be scared to the point of pooping." Oh no! Another one has fallen out. Long Fei immediately retreated a few steps and said with a sneer in his heart, "Weren't you yelling just now, fiercely? What the F*** are you calling me that again?" Ha ha ha! Ha! Everyone below the stage was laughing. Fu Tianqiu had lost all his face. The Feng Merchant Union had also lost a lot of face. The anger in Fu Tianqiu's heart nearly burned his head to ashes as he gnashed his teeth so hard that they nearly broke. He flung his sleeves and heavily left, saying, "Long Fei, just you wait." With that, he left the scene and quickly ran back to the Feng Merchant Union. This was one of his favorite clothes. After he walked down the stage, Long Fei said loudly, "Fu Tianqiu, why are you still not coming out? Are you afraid? If you are afraid, kneel down and call me father. Daddy will let you go. Get over here right now. Why aren't you out yet? Are you going to change or run to the latrine to eat sh*t?" Fu Tianqiu was so angry that smoke was coming out from his head. He really wanted to rush up the stage and give Long Fei a big slap, but his pants were still oozing out poop. He couldn't even smell it anymore. If he didn't change it, he would be smelly to death. Long Fei was even more joyous as he scolded, "You better hurry up and F***king fight. If you don't, then you can leave." Blindly wasting time. At this time, Nangong Lei coldly yelled, "Long Fei, have you messed around enough?" Huh? Long Fei's gaze turned. Looking at Nangong Lei, who was seated in the honored guest seat, he immediately laughed. "If I want to cause trouble, why the hell do you care? Nangong Lei, what qualifications do you have to sit here? What does your father and Fu Tianqiu powder-making competition want to do with you? You old thing, don't think that just because you're my future father-in-law, I won't dare to scold you. Right? Where did your daughter go to? It's been a few days since I last saw her. It can't be that she went to spank some cheap stuff, right? He was just worrying about not being able to find anyone to curse at. Nangong Lei just happened to be hit on the bullet hole. He was asking for a scolding. Nangong Lei's face turned green and purple. If it was possible, he really wished that he could tear Long Fei into pieces. Clenching his fists tightly, he thought, "Just you wait. There are still 2 days before the banquet of Forbidden Peak. At that time, I will turn your entire Long family into ashes." "Why aren't you speaking?" "Nangong Lei, you are just a coward. Looking at how your father died in my hands without daring to act. What meaning do you have to live in this world? You don't even dare to take revenge for killing your father. You're truly a joke." Long Fei said without restraint. Isn't he afraid of Nangong Lei? Nangong Lei's realm was much higher than his, and if it was suddenly difficult, Long Fei would really not be able to hold on. However, Long Fei predicted that he would not make a move on him, because he was waiting for the banquet of Forbidden Peak to arrive in 2 days. Nangong Lei was also angered to the point that he was 100,000 meters tall, but in the end, he endured it and coldly replied, "Long Fei, you like it." At this moment, "He's here." Fu Tianqiu had escaped from the Fengyuan Merchant Union and could not wait to kneel in front of him. The moment he rushed to the stage, Fu Tianqiu shouted, "Long Fei, have you successfully improved the true pill? If you do not have it, then kneel down and kowtow to the ancestor. It still stinks." Long Fei fanned his smell in front of his nose, looked at the fully confident Fu Tianqiu, and said, "It's a true pill transformation after all." "Humph, I don't think you succeeded either. How could the true pill of my Fu family be successfully modified by a trash like you? You're simply insulting true pill." Fu Tianqiu was extremely anxious. The moment his voice fell, Fu Tianqiu let out a heavy shout. "Long Fei, kneel down and call for our ancestor." Long Fei stood there and looked at Fu Tianqiu with cold eyes. Fu Tianqiu laughed complacently and said, "You didn't succeed, did you? Ha ha ha. I knew you didn't succeed. Men, seize him." Fu Tianqiu was not in a hurry. He had to save the face of the Fengyuan Merchant Union. Suddenly, the 2 black figures descended. The 2 of them were war elder realm rankers, standing on the left and right of Long Fei. Fu Tianqiu shouted loudly, "Kneel." Long Fei continued to stare at him coldly. Fu Tianqiu laughed complacently and said, "You won't kneel, right? Break both his legs. I want to see how hard the Long family's knees are." It was also at this time. Long Zhanhai suddenly shouted, "Damn it, let's see who has the guts to do so." Boom! His voice sunk and also instantly landed beside Long Fei as he said in a low voice, "Xiao Fei, don't be afraid. If anyone dares to bully you, I'll kill them." Fu Tianqiu's forehead turned sinister as he stared coldly at Long Zhanhai and said, "Long Zhanhai, you have to admit that you have lost, and if Long Fei loses, he has to fulfill the conditions of the bet. What about it? Do you want to stop me?" He was not afraid. He did not have to be afraid of anyone in the Fireglass City. Half of Fireglass Dynasty's economic lifeline was controlled by the Fengyuan Merchant Union. It would be too easy for him to make a family disappear. Long Zhanhai smiled slightly. "Fu Tianqiu, take a look at this place. You want my Long family to kneel down and call you your ancestors? In my opinion, it really is a bunk next to the latrine pit, and it's not too far from death. Where are the Long family's disciples?" "Huh?" The Long family disciples in the crowd shouted in unison, their voices shaking the sky. Long Zhanhai would never let Long Fei be bullied, not even the slightest bit, not to mention kneeling down and admitting his mistake. At this moment, Nangong Lei was excited. The good show is about to begin. Chapter 88_8419/2356498. Nangong Lei was waiting for this exact moment. Nangong Lei was waiting for this exact moment. Long Zhanhai rushed out, and then Nangong Lei smiled slightly and said, "What a great authority. The Long family is really too domineering and despotic. Even I can't stand to watch any longer. Long Zhanhai, it's only right that you admit defeat, if you really want to fight." The corner of Nangong Lei's mouth drew back, coldly laughed, and said, Then I'll be taking care of this matter. Where are the Duke Palace's guards? Huh. Immediately, the guard from the Nangong imperial clan rushed out from the crowd. Moreover, Zhuge Tianlong also sneered coldly. Long Zhanhai, this is the Fireglass City, not your Long family. If you want to behave atrociously here, you aren't qualified. Where are the guards of the Divine Ho clan? Swish, 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 swish. Then another group of people rushed out. Li Chongtian was too arrogant and had to defeat his spirit today. If he were to kneel down and kowtow and call his father the ancestor of the Pavilion Master Fu, this matter would become nothing more than an understanding of the situation. If he did not kneel down and admit defeat, where are the guards of the general's estate? A large group of guards rushed out, surrounding the members of the Long family, Long Zhanhai, and the others completely. Nangong Lei laughed coldly. More people? Ha ha! Long Zhanhai, do you have more people than us? Right now, the Long family was at a complete disadvantage. The Long family had arranged for people from the start, and the other 3 pillars S were the same as well. Fu Qianqiu became even more proud. Long Fei, kneel down and call upon your ancestors. Ha ha! Nangong Lei, Li Chongtian, Zhuge Tianlong also shouted in unison. Long Fei, you better kneel down and admit defeat, or else they all wished that Long Fei would not kneel down and admit defeat, and only then would they have an excuse to kill Long Fei because of the chaos arrows. Seeing Long Fei not moving, Nangong Lei was extremely happy in his heart. You dog today, I will make you die. Revenge for the death of my father. This time, it was different than in the Long family. This time, Nangong Lei was extremely confident that he would be able to take Long Fei down. Long Zhanhai said to Long Fei in a low voice, Xiao Fei, leave first later, leave this place to me. At this moment, Long Fei laughed, walked up, and looked at Fu Qianqiu, then looked at Nangong Lei and the other 2, and sneered, How do you know that I didn't succeed in improving? Did I say that I didn't succeed in improving it? Nangong Lei trembled slightly. If Long Fei had successfully improved, then everything that happened today, he would become a joke. Fu Qianqiu laughed. Can a useless person like you succeed? A cold light flashed out of the corner of Long Fei's eyes. He looked at Nangong Lei and continued. Duke Nangong, you all hoped that my improvement would fail. You all have already arranged people to harm me, right? You are truly sinister, but your people came out a little early. The moment his voice fell, Long Fei instantly moved and landed in front of Fu Qianqiu, saying darkly, If it wasn't for Fu Xishan, your head would have already landed on the ground. His eyes were like the eyes of a death god. Fu Tianqiu's body involuntarily trembled. Nangong Lei bellowed. You said that you succeeded, so take out the improved true pill. Can you take it out? If you can't take it out, then you lose. Long Fei was not anxious at all and coldly laughed. Some people are despicable after all. If we don't slap their faces, they won't even know how painful it is. Open your dog eyes wide and see clearly. Long Fei took out a pill from the space ring. Ha ha, ha ha. Fu Tianqiu laughed out loud and said, What is the difference between this and a true pill? This is just an ordinary true pill, you trash. Long Fei, if you lose, kneel down. Chua! Long Fei suddenly rushed forward and fiercely slapped him down and shouted, There is a limit to my patience. If you dare say the word trash again, I will kill you. Pa! With a resounding slap, Fu Tianqiu fell to the ground. Without waiting for Fu Tianqiu to explode, Long Fei crouched down and coldly said, Whether or not you are the Fu clan's true pill is not up to you to decide. Finished. Long Fei walked over to the black-robed old man who had been sitting down the entire time and said, You should be the person Nangong Lei has invited, right? Take a look at it. Under the black robe, 2 beast-like eyes stared straight at Long Fei, who smiled lightly and placed the pill on the table beside him. At this moment, Long Fei's back was drenched in cold sweat. What a strong aura! For a moment, Long Fei could feel that the black-robed old man had a unique power in his body. This power was definitely above the War Elder, a War Master ranker. an aura even stronger than that of his grandfather's. The black-robed elder picked up the true pill on the table. The idea moved. After sensing it for a bit, his eyebrows creased, and he immediately swallowed the true pill. The most direct way to determine the quality of a pill was to consume it. The medicinal pill entered his body. The dense spiritual energy exploded. At this moment, the old man's eyes opened and his body trembled. Nangong Lei's eyes moved. He immediately shouted, "Long Fei, you dare poison my teacher. You're courting death." Long Fei ignored Nangong Lei and smiled at the black-robed old man, saying, "How is it? Is this considered a modified true pill?" The old man in black closed his eyes. He was still immersed in the world of pills. Very good. It felt wonderful. Every single time the spirit energy collided with a pubes, it would be either fire, water, or earth. The power of the 5 elements constantly surged forward. It felt wonderful. He was incomparably shocked in his heart. Just how did he do it? To be able to refine a perfect stage pill into this? The amount of spirit energy in it is several times more than a normal true pill. How exactly did it happen? Shock. It was incomparably shocking. The guards of the Duke Nangong Palace rushed to Long Fei's side. It was also at this moment that the black-robed old man stood up, looked at Long Fei, and asked, "How exactly did you do that?" He was an Earth-rank alchemy master. He was a great alchemy grandmaster of the Heaven Sect. What kind of pills had he not refined before? But he had tried to improve the true pill before, and it was simply impossible for him to succeed. Long Fei actually did it. His talent was too unbelievable. The entire audience suddenly went silent. Long Fei did not answer. "Tell me first whether I succeeded or not." Everyone looked at the black-robed elder. Fu Tianxiu, Nangong Lei, Zhuge Tianlong. Everyone looked at the black-robed elder. Even though the black-robed old man did not want to acknowledge Long Fei, but he was an alchemy master. His pursuit of medicinal pellets was greater than his pursuit of martial arts. "Ha ha ha!" Long Fei laughed out loud. He turned and stared at Nangong Lei. "Did you hear that? I succeeded." Fu Tianxiu, kneel down and kowtow to this daddy and call me ancestor. Chapter 98_8419/2356499. Nothing else is important. Just get the result. Nothing else is important. Just get the result. Fu Tianxiu's heart was startled. He could not believe it at all. He stared at the black-robed old man and said, "You are in cahoots with him, right? To improve the true pill of my Fu family. Is he even worthy?" Nangong Lei became anxious and asked, "Teacher, what exactly happened?" He was stupefied. Everyone was dumbfounded. Even Long Zhanhai was confused. "What's going on? I already said that Long Fei lost. How did he win a bet so quickly? Could it be Long Fei had really succeeded?" Long Zhanhai himself didn't quite believe it. His ancestor once said, "The bodies of the Long family members aren't suitable for alchemy. Even if one wanted to refine it, it wouldn't be far." Therefore, the Long family had never advocated alchemy for disciples. The crowd below the arena was also in an uproar. Did you succeed? He really succeeded? Impossible. True pill is not some other pill. It's impossible to improve it. Could it be that the black-robed old man was bribed by Long Fei? All sorts of questions sounded. Long Fei didn't explain in the slightest. Step by step, he walked in front of Fu Tianxiu and coldly laughed. Didn't Fu Tianxiu say that he was very good just now? Kneel before your father now. The Long family had no shame, and the Fengyuan Merchant Union had no shame either. Kneeling before Long Fei in front of all the people in the city would cause the Fengyuan Merchant Union's reputation to suffer a great loss. It would also become a criticism of competitors. Even the business of the Fengyuan Merchant Union in the Fireglass Dynasty would be pushed out. Can't kneel. Fu Tianxiu clenched his fists and shouted, "Long Fei, you said that you have successfully improved and improved? I don't believe that you can refine one right in front of me if you have the ability. Otherwise, I would never believe you." Nangong Lei looked at the black-robed old man, who remained silent. Nangong Lei also took a step forward and shouted, "That's right, that was a modified true pill. But who can prove that you refined it yourself? You can fake it. Long Fei, you better refine it in front of everyone, or else you've lost." I don't believe it. No one believed it, and neither did Nangong Lei. Zhuge Tianlong, Li Chong Tian, and the others did not believe it either. Improved true pill? Impossible. Many people below the stage also shouted loudly, "We have to refine it on the spot." You're right. Otherwise, who would know where you bought these Ling Dawn? Exactly. Long Fei, if you want to prove it, you must refine it in front of everyone in the city. Long Fei smiled, turned around, looked at Nangong Lei, and said, "Wasn't that slap just now painful? All right, I'll give you 3 more old things to slap." Finished. Long Fei slightly shouted, "Prepare a pill furnace." Nangong Lei's face turned sinister as he said solemnly, "Prepare a pill furnace for him. Long Fei, if you are unable to concoct it, I will take your life. No doubt about it." The words succeeded from the black-robed old man were like a slap on the face of Long Fei. It was very painful, but they refused to accept it. Long Zhanhai walked over and whispered, "Xiao Fei, if you don't want to refine it, no one can stop you." He wasn't sure either. Long Fei smiled faintly. "Uncle, you can go now. I will slap their faces until they become swollen. Moreover, this time, I will let the Long family control the life vein of the Fireglass City's medicine." What is a true pill? Pills that had abundant spirit energy and were the best supplementary pills for martial practitioners. Any martial artist needed it. Whoever could control this pill could control the market in Fireglass City. In the Fengyuan Merchant Union, Holy Dragon Mansion Zhuge of the alchemy family had occupied the medicine market, but it was immediately pushed aside because of this true pill. Like to play? Then let's play it big. Long Zhanhai looked at Long Fei, unable to see through his thoughts, but as long as it was something Long Fei wanted to do, he was willing to fully support him no matter what. Disciples of the Long family, retreat. At this moment, Zhao Er took out a pill furnace from the Fengyuan Merchant Union. Lu Feng also stood below the stage, his eyes blazing with fire. Fu Tianxiu sneered and said, "Lu Feng, you are a dog of the Fengyuan Merchant Union. You can forget about leaving the Fu clan in your lifetime. Do you understand?" It's impossible for him to succeed. Long Fei's eyes became angry, and the moment he grabbed the pill furnace, he bellowed, "Look carefully." And then, the true breath surged and the fire started. Next, he placed the same spiritual herb into the pill furnace. Long Fei's true breath was tightly controlled, and in the end, a few fire attribute spiritual herbs that were gathered in the great desolate mountain range were placed inside, causing the true breath to frantically burn. Half a minute later, ding! Refining is a success. After the system's voice rang out, a rich fragrance permeated the air. Everyone in the surroundings could smell that the spiritual energy was extremely dense. It was also at this time, Long Fei took out the true pill and immediately placed it in front of Fu Tianxiu. Did you see it clearly? His alchemy had reached less than a minute. It was dazzlingly fast. The black-robed old man didn't spare a single move, but he still did not see clearly and still did not know how Long Fei had managed to refine it successfully. Just with this alchemy alone, he had reached a realm that no one could compare to. Moreover, Long Fei didn't even look at the pill furnace. He knew that he had succeeded, which showed his confidence. Shock. Everyone was shocked. What kind of alchemy technique was this? Like a ghost, he was completely unable to understand what was going on. Fu Tianxiu's face turned pale white. He shouted once again, "You dog," this old man asks, "have you seen clearly yet?" Fu Tianxiu's body swayed, and he shook his head. "Long Fei, this is only an ordinary true pill. It hasn't improved at all." Its appearance was not any different. What shocked him was Long Fei's speed and her success rate. True pill were extremely hard to control and would easily fail, even if he was an alchemy grandmaster. Long Fei sneered and directly stuffed it into his mouth. He suddenly roared, "I'll let you experience what a newly obtained true pill is like." The medicinal pill entered his body. His spirit energy flooded in. Fu Tianqiu's pubes was continuously being struck, and the strong spirit energy was overflowing. Even the people around him could feel it. Fu Tianqiu was so shocked that his entire body was trembling. Impossible, impossible. The Fu clan was unable to improve the true pill even after studying it for thousands of years. You can't succeed. However, the truth was the truth. Long Fei did not care. He moved and shouted, "Kneel in front of me." Boom! Fu Tianqiu's body sank and started trembling all over. Ha! A slap landed on his face. Fu Tianqiu was instantly slapped so hard that he kneeled on the ground. Long Fei slapped down again and shouted, "Kowtow!" Bang! Fu Tianqiu's forehead heavily struck the ground, and blood poured out from his forehead. However, he still did not dare move because he had lost. We lost so utterly. However, this wasn't the end. It was rare for someone to build up momentum for him. If he did not make good use of it, he wouldn't be called Long Fei. The true pill is awesome, right? I'll let you know, true pill is nothing but trash in my eyes. Long Fei slightly shouted, "All of you come out." The 10th chapter, the final 10 chapters have been sent. 8_8419/2356500. If you want to step on someone, you have to step on that person's face. If you want to step on someone, you have to step on that person's face. Furthermore, he was stepping on death itself. The insulting words Fu Tianqiu said to him made Long Fei feel exceptionally bad. One could imagine how heavy the punishment Fu Xishan received would be. Since that was the case, Long Fei had to do something. True Pill was a rising pill of the Fengyuan Merchant Union, and it was also something the Fu family was proud of, so he would break it and make it worthless. Long Fei's voice fell. Several disciples of the Long family walked out. They were all disciples of the Long family's alchemy room. They walked onto the stage and greeted respectfully, "Young Lord." The audience immediately began discussing with one another. Who are they? Aren't they the low-level alchemy masters of the Long family? They only know how to refine some low-grade healing pellets and are simply unable to become a platform's alchemy master. What does Long Fei want to do? What the hell is Xiao Fei doing? Long Zhanhai was also a little confused, not sure what Long Fei wanted to do. Jojo and the leopard girl also looked at Long Fei. "Big brother Long Fei, what are you planning to do?" Everyone was puzzled. None of them knew what Long Fei wanted to do, but no one left. They all wanted to know what Long Fei wanted to do. Long Fei walked to Fu Tianqiu's side and said, "Pavilion Master Fu, you have lost the powder-making competition. According to the bet, Elder Lu is free now." Fu Tianqiu was still kneeling on the ground, his mind a little muddled, and continued to mutter under his breath, "Impossible, impossible. True Pill, even a great master of alchemy cannot improve it. It is impossible for him to improve it." He was still stunned by the resonance that had with the improved True Pill. It was just too unbelievable. Long Fei was too lazy to ask for his permission. She directly said, "Elder Lu, you are free now. You should come up too." Lu Feng stood in his original position, his eyes trembling. He looked at Long Fei and didn't know what to say. Once, he thought that he would only be able to stay in the Fu family for the rest of his life, and would only be a tool for the Fu family, a slave with alchemy. When he met Fu Xishan, he was very happy, because Fu Xishan was the person the Fu family treated him the best. Fu Xishan left. Fu Tianqiu came. He fell from heaven back to hell and turned into that slave again, a slave that he could never break free from. There was also the slave mark on his chest that faintly hurt. He thought that this would be his only life, but after seeing Long Fei refine the improved True Pill, his heart was like a volcano erupting. The feeling of having a new life coming out his chest filled him with excitement and gratitude. Free? Am I free? Lu Feng kept on asking himself in his heart, and even he himself did not dare to believe it. However, when he saw Long Fei's resolute expression, he muttered in his heart, "I'm not dreaming. I'm free. Long Fei looked at the excited Lu Feng and said, Elder Lu, come up. Lu Feng walked up the stage step by step and looked at Long Fei. He did not know what to say, nor did he know how to thank him. Plop! Lu Feng suddenly knelt in front of Long Fei, kowtowed heavily, and said, Thank you. Too sudden, Long Fei did not expect that, and immediately rushed forward to help him up, saying, Elder Lu, what are you doing? Lu Feng said heavily, From today onwards, you are my master, and I am your servant. Old Lu, what are you saying? You're free now. You're not anyone's slave, nor are you my slave. Long Fei's heart tensed up. Fu Tianqiu's eyes turned sinister. He snorted and said, Slaves will always be slaves. The slave imprint on your chest will never be erased. Lu Feng's chest faintly hurt. Fu Tianqiu stood up once again and coldly snorted. Long Fei, there are as many such slaves as my Fu family has. Lu Feng is but a dog of my Fu family, so if you lose, you lose. Cluck, cluck. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly, the anger surging as he stared at Fu Tianqiu. Fu Tianqiu's heart calmed down. Looking at Long Fei's ferocious expression, he could not help but let out a cold laugh. Am I wrong? Lu Feng, tell me yourself, are you a dog from the Fu clan? It's even mongrel dog, ha. Lu Feng's body started to tremble. Memories of the past began to flood into his mind. In his heart, fury surged, killing intent, incomparably thick killing intent. Fu Tianqiu continued to laugh. Yo, an old dog like you would be angry once you change owners. Why haven't I seen you angry before? Ah! Lu Feng roared. Each word old dog made him extremely unhappy. People have dignity. It was the same for slaves as well. Lu Feng lost his mind and pounced towards Fu Tianqiu. Fu Tianqiu frowned and said coldly, You dog, if you dare hurt a single hair on my head, I will make you wish you were dead. The corner of Nangong Lei's mouth drew back, laughed coldly, and shouted, This show is not over yet. Immediately, the Nangong Imperial Manners Guards suddenly shouted. The two war Elder Realm experts that Fu Tianqiu had brought with him also instantly moved and landed beside Fu Tianqiu. The moment Lu Feng touched him, he would be killed instantly. However, when all of this was happening, and Nangong Lei was accumulating his potential, Long Fei appeared and pulled Lu Feng back. Elder Lu, don't be anxious, you can slap his face later. Nangong Lei squinted, feeling that it was a pity. As long as Lu Feng made a move against Fu Tianqiu, Long Fei would definitely help him. At that time, he would have a reason to surround and kill Long Fei, but Long Fei actually pulled Lu Feng back. This didn't quite match with his fiery temper. If it was according to what Nangong Lei had thought, then everything that Long Fei had done would be in vain. Face smacking was not a fight. It was not a form of crushing force. Face smacking had to be fast, accurate, and ruthless. The pill that was used to slap Fu Tianqiu's face. Immediately, Long Fei comforted Lu Feng and whispered something into his ear, then said softly, Later on, you'll do as I say. Lu Feng was startled. His heart immediately calmed down. He did not understand what Long Fei was saying, but after looking at him, he nodded his head and replied in. Long Fei laughed lightly and continued to speak. Pavilion Master Fu, open your dog eyes wide and look carefully. His gaze shifted as he looked at Nangong Lei and said, Nangong Lei, the show has only begun. Nangong Lei's gaze darkened. The audience broke out into a flurry of discussion. What good show is this? Isn't it almost over? What's going on? What exactly does Long Fei want to do? Long Zhanhai said in a low voice, If there's a riot later, if anyone dares to touch Long Fei, kill them. The corner of Long Fei's mouth lifted as he walked to the front of the stage and said, The true pill is a top-secret pellet of the Fu family. It contains a dense amount of spirit energy and can only be refined by a high-level alchemy master. Table of contents, today. Now, right here, if I were to say that true pill is trash, then the new true pill that I, Long Fei, have developed can be refined by anyone who knows about alchemy. Begin. Chapter 11. This young master has been a commander for 9 lifetimes. Thank you for your rewards. 8_8419/2356501. As soon as he finished, the 4-level 1 alchemy students of the Long family immediately got ready. Long Fei took out the spirit herbs that the new true pill required and gave them to Lu Feng. Just do as I say. Do not worry about other things. Lu Feng still did not understand. If it was as Long Fei had said, it would be absolutely impossible to succeed, and there might even be an explosion. This would be a huge joke. The Long family's face would fall. Seeing the resolute look in Long Fei's eyes, Lu Feng gritted his teeth and said, "Okay." Fu Tianqiu walked up and frowned, then looked at the spirit herbs and immediately laughed. "Ha ha! Do you think that anyone can refine true pill? Long Fei, the true pill is a product of thousands of years of hard work by my Fu family. Do you think that anyone can successfully refine it? You think that this trash is worthy of refining true pill?" Nangong Lei also sneered. "Long Fei, I have to admire your courage. You actually brought a group of alchemy apprentices to refine true pill. Originally, you had already won, but now you want to lose yourself, ha ha ha. Then I'll be waiting to see your joke, your Long family joke." Zhuge Tianlong could not help but burst out laughing. Can the people of the Long family use their alchemy? Do these trash know what alchemy means? Ha ha! Li Chongtian laughed. Even I, as a martial artist, know that the Long family has no alchemy at all. Long Fei, are you trying to embarrass the Long family? That's right. It's not the first time you've lost face for the Long family anyway. They were laughing. The people below the arena were also laughing. A member of the Long family's alchemy? Everyone in the Fire Glass City knew that the blood lineages of the Long family were not suitable for alchemy. At most, they were only concocting some low-level healing pills. You want to refine a high-level true pill? It was simply a dream, not to mention them. Even the disciples of the Long family did not believe him. They all looked at Long Zhanhai, who frowned and said, "Believe in Long Fei." He also knew that the Long family were not suitable for the alchemy, but he believed in Long Fei. Long Fei was a miracle. Long Fei stood on the stage and said indifferently, "Do as I say, and do not bother with other matters. If they like to laugh, then let them laugh as much as they want. Laugh." The corner of Long Fei's mouth drew back as he muttered, "Just you guys wait till you cry." While they were talking, the Dragon Clan disciples and Lu Feng started refining at the same time. The true breath surged, the fire burned, the spirit grass was placed inside, the flames suddenly changed, the release of the true breath also suddenly changed. Everyone was synchronized. It was like a mechanical operation. Fu Tianqiu could not help but burst out laughing. This is called alchemy? Is this called performing acrobatics? Ha! Long Fei, I really want to laugh. If you want to tease everyone, you've done it. Fu Tianqiu was also an alchemy master. He was very clear on the refining process of the pellets. But these people call them alchemy. They all went against common sense, and were all a group of idiots. Zhuge Tianlong was the same. He had the same thoughts as Fu Tianqiu. The Long family's disciples did not understand alchemy. Long Fei slightly said, "Don't be distracted. Focus." Half a minute later, boom, 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 several voices sounded in succession. "The furnace has exploded." Huh. The furnace exploded. Fu Tianqiu laughed complacently, and when he saw that everyone's pill furnace was buzzing with noise, he burst out laughing. At the same time he laughed, a Long family disciple stood up and respectfully said, "Young master, it's a success." Next, one by one, they stood up and said, "Young lord, it's a success." Finally, there was Lu Feng. He looked at the pill that was formed in the furnace with his mouth agape, looking at Long Fei in disbelief as he said, "Success, success." The entire hall was silent. Everyone's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. Many of them rushed to the front of the stage and stared at the pills in their hands. At this moment, the dense spiritual energy spread out endlessly. Long Fei kept the pills and smiled. "Continue to refine." Following that, Without even looking at Fu Tianxiu, Nangong Lei, and the others, he walked to the front of the stage and said, "The true pill is nothing. This is something that my Long family developed." After thinking for a moment, Long Fei said excitedly, "Dragon Spirit Pellet can be easily refined by any alchemy master with a 100% success rate. Come, come, come. Who wants to try one?" Long Fei took the pill and walked in front. Immediately, many people rushed forward and said, I will try. I want to try too." Putting down the 5 pills, the 5 of them consumed the pills simultaneously. Less than half a minute. The expressions of the 5 of them changed. Their eyes were filled with excitement, and they kneeled down in front of Long Fei. "I want to join the Long family. I want to join them." Suddenly, a loud sound was heard from the bodies of the other 2 people. "Ha ha! I broke through. I instantly broke through. I broke through the War Spirit realm. It's been 10 years, a whole 10 years I've broken through the War Spirit realm. Ha ha! I instantly broke through 2 realms and directly reached the 8th level of the Battlemaster realm. Young Master Long Fei, I want to join the Long family. I beg you to let me join the Long family." Out of the 5 people, 2 of them broke through in an instant. The power of this pill could be imagined. Long Fei laughed blandly. "Let's talk about the matter of joining the Long family later. Right now, I want to ask all of you, how is the comparison between Dragon Spirit pills and True Pill?" The 5 of them said almost at the same time, "Compared to the Dragon Spirit pill, the True Pill is just trash, not even bullsh asterisk T. I've consumed True Pill before, not even 1% of the Dragon Spirit pill's effect. Trash. Absolutely garbage." Fu Tianxiu's face became incomparably ugly. Gritting his teeth so hard that they were about to shatter, Zhang Xian trembled in rage. Thousands of years of the Fu family's hard work suddenly turned into trash. This. He could not explain. Fury assaulted his heart, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was incomparably pale. His face was slapped so hard that it cracked. This was more than just slapping his face. It was simply killing them, to the point where Fu Tianxiu did not even have a chance to react. Long Fei looked at Lu Feng. Lu Feng's heart was incomparably grateful, and felt that Long Fei was even more inconceivable. Long Fei smiled faintly. "Someone will definitely say that I invited all 5 of them to come, and today they will also gift you 50 Dragon Spirit pills for free. Finish tasting, please compare it with the True Pill." A few minutes later, True Pill are completely dog shit. Fuck, Lousy will not buy any more True Pill in the future. The trash of the True Pill, the Dragon Spirit Pill, is countless times stronger than it. Get the hell out of the Feng Yuan Merchant Union. 36 search. Half floating / / equals. Fu Tianxiu continuously spat out blood. His face was pale, and his 4 limbs were constantly shooting around. It was as if he was suffering from epilepsy. Long Fei took the chance and secretly rubbed 3 top-grade pills and walked in front of Nangong Lei, then said with a smile, "Duke Nangong, Marquis Zhuge, General Li, do you guys want to try some?" The last 3 pills. Chapter 12. This young master has been good for 9 lifetimes. Thank you for your rewards. 8_8419/2356502. One after another, more than a dozen of them instantly broke through to the next realm. One after another, more than a dozen of them instantly broke through to the next realm. Was the Dragon Spirit pill really that strong? He had to say it. They were also very curious, and many of them were also very curious. It was just that Long Fei simply did not allow his subordinates to try, because they did not have the qualifications. Looking at the 3 strange pills in Long Fei's hands, Zhuge Tianlong immediately took a step forward and said, "Let me give it a try. I really want to see what's so special about your Dragon Spirit pellet." The instant he took a step forward, Long Fei retracted his hand and said with a slight smile, "The Dragon Spirit pill is still in the examination stage. I cannot guarantee that it will have the same effects as everyone else. If there are any side effects, it's your own business. I, Long Fei, am not responsible. Pills have side effects. Zhuge Tianlong was very clear about this point. Zhuge Tianlong said, Long Fei, I know more about pills than you. You don't have to bear the consequences of the side effects. Long Fei looked at Nangong Lei and asked, What about the two of you? Nangong Lei also wanted to personally experience the might of the dragon spirit pill and said, I do not need you to bear the consequences. Li Chongtian was the same. Long Fei said loudly, This is what you guys said yourself, didn't force you guys. If there is anything that comes out, it's because your bodies aren't strong enough. Saying so, he opened his palms, and the three of them swallowed the warm pills into their mouths. He chewed a few times. Gudong. He swallowed at the same time. Zhuge Tianlong muttered to himself, There's nothing special about it. What power resonance? Yeah, there's a sour, salty taste. It's a bit weird. Why can't I sense any spiritual energy at all? What's the situation? Suddenly, pala, pala, just as if they were pulling huge chains. Strange sounds rang out from behind their butts, following which the three of them simultaneously clamped their hands on their thighs. The chrysanthemums tightened, and their faces flushed red. Zhuge Tianlong's eyes were filled with anger. Long Fei, what did you give us to eat? Long Fei, I will kill you. Kid, what exactly did you give us to eat? Crack, crack. Pa, he couldn't hold it in any longer. Long Fei secretly thought for a while, wow, what 3 days and 3 nights? Its power is so strong, haha. It's even more powerful than the last time Zhuge Jinxiang was here. And then, Long Fei said in a serious tone, Pills, these are the new high-quality pills that I came up with yesterday. I forgot to tell you guys, the pill just now was not the dragon spirit pill. Crack. Zhuge Tianlong could not hold it in any longer. His butt made a pa-la sound, and some blurry feces flowed down from the bottom of his pants. Immediately following was Nangong Lei, Li Chongtian. All three of them had their butts wet, and they were even constantly letting out fart-popping noises. Every time they farted, a large amount of watery feces would pop out. Long Fei, I will kill you. Nangong Lei was furious. Zhuge Tianlong's stomach continued to tumble and growl as his face became incomparably pale. I can't do it. I can't do it. A large group of the martial arts sect's warriors quickly followed. They only saw piles of feces falling one after another on the road he walked past, and all the warriors behind him covered their noses. Zhuge Tianlong could not help but say, Long Fei, just you wait. Crack. Everyone in the audience burst out laughing. Ha ha. Ha ha. Master Ho, what shit on your butt? General, ha ha. It's so funny. Nangong Lei could not hold it in either. If he continued to stay, he was worried that his pants would get wet. Right now, he wished that he could tear Long Fei into pieces, but if he did not leave now, he would lose all his face. In the 3 pillars, other than the 3 most powerful people in the Fireglass City, they were all laughing in front of the entire city. Moreover, 3 Pillars' face turned ugly. Long Fei looked at Nangong Lei, who was frantically running away, and muttered, Take care, father-in-law. Ha! Long Fei laughed out loud and said, Do you think you're worthy to fight against me? The black-robed old man looked at Long Fei. His gaze tightened for a bit, then followed and left. This time, Long Fei, Long family's overall victory. Moreover, the influence of the Long family directly overshadowed that of all the other families. Because of the dragon spirit pill, this was only the beginning. The dragon spirit pellet would completely occupy the Fireglass City's medicine market. This pellet looked simple, but if Long Fei had not spoken of knocking on the door, even a great alchemy master would not be able to refine it. However, he had said knocking on the door that even a level 1 alchemy master would be able to refine it. Long family's Lianlong elixir manufacturing plant. Only the Long family could refine it. Divine Zhuge Prefecture Zhuge Tianlong had been squatting in the latrine for 2 whole hours, and it looked like he was about to bleed. Zhuge Jinxiang covered his nose as he stood outside the latrine and asked, Father, is it that brat Long Fei? Father, There are only 2 days until Banquet of Forbidden Peak. I've already broken through the War Chief realm. At that time, I will definitely show him who's boss. Long Fei, just you wait. Crack! Crack! There was another burst of explosion in the latrine, which made Zhuge Tianlong feel like he was about to collapse. It was the same for Li Chongtian of the Li martial arts sect. He ate several anti-diarrhea medicine, but it was completely ineffective. It had to be said that Long Fei's top-quality pills were simply too powerful. Nangong Imperial Clan. Nangong Lei held onto the handle with both of his hands. His face pale and covered in cold sweat, he said, "Long Fei, you dog, I will never let you go." Absolutely not. It was also at this time. A Duke Palace guard hurried over and reported, "Reporting to your highness, Nangong Jun has already arrived at Fireglass City. They're camping 5 kilometers away from Fireglass City." Nangong Lei stood up excitedly. "All right, crack." Unable to control himself, another round of explosions occurred. This time it hit his pants. Nangong Lei hated Long Fei to death. "Long Fei, you only have 2 days of life left. Just you wait." Other than the 3 pillars, there was another matter. Fu Tianxiu from the Fengyuan Merchant Union had died. He was so angry. Anger struck the heart, and blood spurted out endlessly. He died a few hours after bringing them back to the Fengyuan Merchant Union, filled with hatred. It was because of Long Fei's dragon pellet. Hearing this news, Long Fei was startled. He laughed and said to Lu Feng, "Elder Lu, this is the highest realm of face-smacking awe." The 13th chapter, Qingcheng, Xian, the reward for yesterday's 5,000 reed cake, plus another chapter. Thank you. 8_8419/2356503. Everything that happened in the Fireglass City, the Nangong Imperial Clan saw it all. Everything that happened in the Fireglass City, the Nangong Imperial Clan saw it all. The originally dying Long family had risen swiftly because of Long Fei's return. The appearance of the Dragon Spirit Pill allowed the Long family to return to the ranks of the 4 pillars. Right now, the Long family was at its peak, which made Nangong feel threatened. Ever since the establishment of the Fireglass Dynasty, the ancestors of the Nangong family had known that the Long family was their biggest threat. For the past few years, the Nangong Imperial Clan had constantly been weakening the power of the Long clan. The disappearance of the Dragon Salyer. The death of several Dragon God warriors. The dragon blood on Long Fei's body was extracted. It was all planned by the Nangong Imperial family. He thought that the Long family would be annihilated this time, and that he wouldn't have to worry about the threat of the Long family anymore. However, he didn't think that the Long family would become even stronger after reviving. The limelight was too great. Just today at the morning assembly, Nangong Hua received a report. Nangong Jun was only 5 kilometers away from Fireglass City. Nangong Hua immediately sent people to investigate. So it was like that. Immediately. Nangong Hua was furious, but after being enraged, he became abnormally calm. What happened with the Long family during this period of time was when Nangong Lei was dealing with them. As a result, he did not bother with it, nor did he look for Nangong Lei. Instead, he sent people to lock onto Nangong Jun. At the same time, he ordered the Imperial Guards to quickly retreat in case of need. Nangong Lai is dead. The Nangong Imperial Manor is in a mess. The most important thing right now is still the Long family. Long Fei. Also, that is the secret of the Dragon Salyer. During this period of time, he had searched through all of the Dragon Salyer's secret history. He had vaguely guessed that the Dragon Salyer's secret was the Dragon Clan's secret, and whoever could solve this secret might be able to command the Dragon Clan. If he could command the dragons, then the Nangong Imperial Clan would surely soar through the entire Sky Martial continent, not hiding in a small empire in the South Horizon region. Every sovereign king had a strong ambition. Nangong Hua was no exception. Control the Dragon Clan. Nangong Hua couldn't help but become excited as he thought of this. He must properly organize this time's banquet of Forbidden Peak. And then, Nan Gongho walked towards his father's cultivation room. The Sky Martial continent was divided into 5 main regions. The place where Fireglass Dynasty resided was the South Horizon region. In the South Horizon region, Fireglass Dynasty was as insignificant as a grain of sand. They couldn't even be found on a map. All these years, the Nangong family had always wanted to expand their territory, but the outside world was too strong. If not for them relying on the Fireglass Mountain Range to protect the Fireglass Dynasty, this empire would have been destroyed long ago. If he wanted to change, then he had to become stronger. The Dragon Salyer's secret was perhaps the only way for the Fireglass Dynasty to become strong. It was also a shortcut to rise to the sky in a single step. Long family. Inside Long Sanfeng's courtyard, Long Zhanhai slightly said, I never thought that Nan Gongho would actually not make a move and allow Nan Gong army to camp outside the city. It seems like his guard against the Long family has never been lifted. Long Sanfeng said slightly, the Nangong imperial clan has never let down their guard before. They have always viewed the Long family as their greatest threat, so I'm afraid that they will have to join hands and go against the Long family. Long Fei was also secretly shocked. Who would have thought that Nan Gongho would allow the Nangong army to station outside the city? This was a heinous crime. One could imagine. Nan Gongho also wished for the Long family's destruction. If that was the case, Long Fei's forehead turned sinister as he said, Grandfather, Uncle, have you ever thought about mastering the Fireglass Dynasty by yourselves? Long Sanfeng and Long Zhanhai were startled. At the same time, they looked at Xiang Longfei. Long Fei said solemnly, the Fireglass Dynasty is a world that our ancestors conquered. What kind of bird is his Nangong imperial family? All these years, we have been defending the borders of the Fireglass Dynasty and obstructing the invasion of the demons, without any rewards, watching our Long family grow stronger and stronger day by day, the 3 great families suppressing him. Nangong did not even have a fart, and after doing this many times together, we can only hope that the Long family would die without a burial place. A ruler like that, what is there to be loyal to? During this year, Nangong continuously weakened the power of the Long family. If not for his laissez-faire, how could the 3 Pillars family be so brazen? Moreover, the reason why Long Sanfeng was heavily injured was because he was ordered to do it by Nangong Wudi. Seeing that they did not speak, Long Fei continued to speak. Grandfather, Uncle, if he does not offend me, I will not offend him. If he offends me, we can give him a point. The Long family has never been bullied. After so many years, what did the Nangong family give us? Nothing. Now that Nangong is riding on our necks, what qualifications do we have to resist him? The people of the Long family never get bullied. Didn't the Nangong imperial clan like bullying us? Fine. This time I will remove his roots as well. Long Fei's chi was released. It was extremely dense. Long Sanfeng's eyes stared blankly as he clenched his fists tightly. The scales on his fists appeared one by one as he shouted loudly, cut the weeds by their roots. Long Zhanhai also asked, Long Fei, what do you plan to do? Long Fei smiled. Nangong is not going to attack the Nangong army outside the city. Let's fight. Moreover, disguise as the Imperial Guards and take action. Nangong Lei, is filled with hatred towards the Nangong Imperial clan. The Nangong residence is given the family name by the Emperor. Nangong Lei had always wanted to restore his family name. So this time, I will let him reveal it. Long Zhanhai frowned and said, we do not have that many people. Then I'm afraid there's no guarantee for the safety of the Long family. Uncle, I've already prepared everything. Long Fei laughed sinisterly. Long Shan has already returned. All the troops of the Nangong army that are stationed at Greatly Mountain have been killed. Mengyu has already rushed to the Fireglass City with the 8,000 dragon soldiers. I believe they will arrive by tomorrow night. Good boy. The 2 of them shook at the same time. None of them expected Long Fei to have already arranged everything. Long Fei laughed. Originally, I wanted to directly make Nangong Lei unable to turn the situation around. But now, let the surname Nangong disappear from Fireglass City forever. Men had to be ruthless when doing things. Long Fei would never show mercy to his enemies. I like to play. Then let's play it big. Long Fei said solemnly. There are still 2 more days. Within 2 days, I will make the Long family's army raise all of the Long family's disciples by 1 rank. I want to let everyone in Fireglass City know what the might of a dragon's fury is. Long Fei had been planning this from the beginning. However, at that time, he had wholeheartedly wanted to deal with Nangong Lei. To deal with Nangong Lai equals half-carrot float hashtag life carrot, because he had injured his grandfather, so he would definitely not tolerate those who had harmed his family in the world. And now, he wanted to let the Long family soar into the sky. After suffering for tens of thousands of years, it was about to explode. Chapter 14. Continue to give rewards and support to Qingcheng and Xian. Thank you for your support. 8_8419/2356504. If people don't offend me, then I won't offend them. But if they offend me, the ancestral tombs had all been turned over for him. If people don't offend me, then I won't offend them. But if they offend me, the ancestral tombs had all been turned over for him. This was Long Fei's personality. Don't provoke him, otherwise, if I don't kill you today, I will kill you tomorrow as well. Rebellion, be the emperor. Haha. Think of all the *king excitement. It had to be said that Long Fei was a little excited. He didn't even dare to think about these things before, but now he had to do them. Moreover, if the Nangong imperial clan wasn't stationed at the border by the Long clan, how could they have lived in peace for 10,000 years? Since you are being heartless to me, then don't blame me for being unrighteous. Furthermore, the remaining half of the dragon salure is still in the Nangong family. At night, Long Fei's courtyard. Lu Feng brought over a dozen alchemy masters over. Young master, these are all my friends for the alchemy guild. They can trust me. Lu Feng was free, but he did not leave. According to the slave rule, whoever saved him would be his master. Long Fei looked at the 10 or so alchemy masters and said, "You are old Lu's friends, which is also my, Long Fei's friends. From today onwards, you are all members of the Long family, so I will pass the dragon spirit pellet to you without reservation." There were things that had to be said. Everyone else also said, "Young Master Long, don't worry. We understand all of this." Long Fei smiled slightly. "Very good. Now I want to give you all a task. Within 2 days, I want you all to refine 10,000 dragon spirit pellets. 10,000 pills. Lu Feng was startled. Long Fei said, "That's right, 10,000 pills. I have already prepared the spirit herbs. You guys have not had any time to rest for the past 2 days and 2 nights. Can you do it?" "Yes. As long as I can refine a dragon spirit pill, I won't have to rest for 10 days or 10 nights. "Exactly. Young Master Long can generously teach us the secret of the dragon spirit pill. What reason do we have to not go all out?" "Young Master Long, let's begin." At this time, Long Shan hurriedly walked into the courtyard and said, "Young Master, I bought all the spiritual herbs you wanted." "All right, then let's begin. If you can refine 10 dragon spirit pills, hand them over to Long Shan." Long Fei was not long-winded. He had Long Shan bring carts of spirit herbs into the small courtyard, and also brought over 10 low-level alchemy disciples of the Long family in. Long Fei then explained the key point of the dragon spirit pill. Once she said it, everyone suddenly realized that they had never heard of or tried this kind of alchemy method before. Next, haha, I did it. I really did it. Dragon spirit pill. I concocted a dragon spirit pill. Long Fei needed alchemy factory right now. He wanted to make the Long family's disciple, the Long family soldier, level up 1 level in 2 days. He wanted to crush Nangong Lei. Walking out of the courtyard, Long Shan hurriedly followed. He lowered his voice and asked, "Young Master, if you tell them the secret of the dragon spirit pill, what if they spread it? Then our Long family won't have any advantages at all." Indeed, the human heart was evil, even if they were afraid of Long Fei. But who could guarantee that they would be loyal to him? If word of this got out, it would instantly spread, and the Long family would have no more advantages. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "Don't worry. If I am not even sure about this, I would not have taught the secret methods to them." Long Fei said in a low voice, "Once the banquet of Forbidden Peak is over, you will lead a group of Long family's troops to Dragon Mountain Valley. Other than the people from the Long family, no one else is allowed to enter the hundreds of thousands of barren mountains." Long Shan was surprised and said, "I still don't understand." Long Fei smiled and said, "Just do as I say. It's not important if you don't understand." Actually, although the secret method of the Dragon Spirit Pill was important, but if it wasn't for the Great Desolate Mountain's natural fire-type spiritual herb, the Dragon Spirit Pill wouldn't have been able to refine it. This was the biggest secret. As long as he could control the Great Desolate Mountain, he would be able to control the Dragon Spirit Pill. Without the fire-type spiritual herbs in the Great Desolate Mountain, you can forget about succeeding. In the following time, every 10 minutes, Long Shan would enter the courtyard and collect the completed Dragon Spirit Pills before quickly placing them in the hands of the Long clan disciples. And then there was the Long family's army that was hidden in the surroundings. Take it immediately and train it immediately. In less than an hour, hundreds of disciples had made their breakthroughs. Level 1 skill. An increase in strength meant an increase in strength. An increase in strength was nothing, but over 10,000 people leveling up was different. If he wanted to play, then he had to play big. This time, Long Fei wanted to make sure that some people would never be able to rise again. Nangong Imperial Clan. Nangong Lei looked out the window at the night sky and muttered, "There's still 2 days left. 2 days later, I will annihilate the Long family. Long Fei, it's time for your death." Nangong Lei was also making his final preparations. All the death soldiers were recalled. The warriors of the Li martial arts sect were also moving fast. This time, they were betting everything to destroy the Long family. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Thunder rumbled in the sky as lightning wreaked havoc in the world. It was as if the entire sky was about to split open. These 2 days were incredibly quiet. It was terrifyingly quiet. In the courtyard at the back of the mountain, Xiao Bai had returned. Xiao Bai said in a low voice, "Master, everything has been prepared according to your plan." Long Fei replied excitedly, "All right, pass my order to attack the Nangong Imperial Clan tonight. Remember, do not keep fighting. Do not leave any of the Nangong Imperial Clan's Imperial Guard's armor on ground." Xiao Bai immediately replied, "Yes." 1 hour later, outside of Fireglass City, shouts and battle filled the air. Nangong Bing never thought that the Imperial Guards would suddenly rush out and flee in panic. When they stabilized their formation and started to counterattack, the Imperial Guards quickly disappeared. Moreover, after disappearing, these people quickly changed into different shapes and entered the city from the various city gates of Fireglass City, slowly hiding themselves. Nangong Hua. Nangong Lei was so angry that his face turned white, and he said solemnly, "You stabbed me in the back. Nangong Hua, you sure know how to scheme. You used our hands to get rid of the Long family, and now you're poking my knife again. You want to see me and the Long family suffer a crushing defeat, and you, Nangong Hua, take advantage of me, right?" Obviously, he had received news that the Long family army had been annihilated. Right now, the only person who could pose a threat to him was the Nangong Imperial Clan's Imperial Guards. If that wasn't Nangong Hua, then who else could it be? Baidu's sister-in-law, A Half. Floating Life, strongest upgrade system, the black-robed elder frowned slightly and said, "The losses aren't that great right now. As long as we can eliminate the Long family and take over the palace in one go. At that time, I will let Dongfeng Jian and Xiao Chongfeng work together from the inside. Anyway, first, the Long family." Chapter 15, with another chapter for your brother's support. He kept his bottom line up to 10 chapters, plus 5 chapters. Today, 15 chapters have been delivered. Brothers, please subscribe a bit more. Please, Haiyong. 8_8419/2356505. 2 days passed quickly. 2 days passed quickly. These 2 days, Fireglass City was exceptionally quiet, so quiet that it made people afraid. In 4 pillars, there were many second-class families, nobles, ministers, all quietly waiting. They also smelled the dangerous scent in the air. In these 2 days, other than checking the progress of his alchemy, Long Fei cultivated his martial skills non-stop in the small forest. Toting skill, Dragon Salure Technique, Infinite Shield, Mountain Hit Fist, Seizamart. As long as the cooldown was over, he would be able to continuously cast it. In any case, he only needed to raise the level of the proficiency S to raise the damage, and the higher the level of the skills, the stronger the damage. As for the consumption of True Breath, he didn't have to worry about it at all right now. The current Dragon Spirit Pill could give a hint of 1,500 True Breath, and it could be used twice in 30 pellets. With Long Fei's current consumption of his True Breath, this was enough for him to use. Night fell. It was time for the meeting. In the small courtyard, Long Fei looked at Lu Feng and said, "You guys have worked hard these past 2 days. Bring these people to rest." The amount of Dragon Spirit Pills he had refined over the past 2 days and 2 nights was completely beyond his imagination. He had refined more than 15,000 pills. These 15,000 Dragon Spirit Pills had allowed nearly 10,000 disciples of the Long family to break through. Now, their combat strength had increased by 2 whole levels. It was as fierce as a tiger. Lu Feng did not dawdle. He knew that Long Fei still had something very important to do, and he had to investigate these alchemy masters again. He had to ensure that the secrets of the Dragon Spirit Pellet were not leaked out. Everyone withdrew. Long Fei released Xiao Bai and said, "Xiao Bai, tonight, you will be stationed at the Long family, and if you encounter an expert from the War Master Ream, don't give him face, go up and bite him to death." Xiao Bai muttered, "Master, I want to follow you to the Imperial Palace." He was worried about Long Fei. The current Xiao Bai was also different from before. During this time, he did not stay idle, as he had already reached the 2nd level of Peak Realm. Long Fei slightly said, "With the ice and fire by your side, you don't have to worry about my safety. But I can't really be at ease with the Long family, though, since you were able to help Grandfather and the others here." Actually, compared to the palace, the Long family was much more dangerous. Nangong Army, 3 Pillars Alliance, the Long family would definitely be fighting a hard battle. Xiao Bai moved her body, and ice and fire. "Ice and fire, if Master has any mishaps, I won't forgive you." Bingwa muttered, "Boss, don't worry. I definitely won't let Master get hurt." "That's more like it." Xiao Bai nodded his head. "Master, I will listen to you. I will guard the Long family. If anyone dares to make a move against the Long family, I will kill them." Long Fei did not know, had already accepted the fire and ice as his underlings, because ice and fire were not Xiao Bai's match. Long Fei looked at the leopard girl and said, "You are also staying in the Long family." The leopard girl giggled and said, "Big brother Long Fei, I won't run around." And then Long Fei looked at Jojo as the idea sank in and said, "Jojo, come with me to the Imperial Palace." Jojo was startled, and before he could react, he said, "Young Master, I think it's better if I stay here. If I go to the Imperial Palace, I'll also embarrass you." She didn't want to embarrass Long Fei. Furthermore, he did not want to implicate Long Fei. Long Fei stared at her, stopping her from continuing, and said, "Who dares to laugh at you? I will make him kneel in front of you and admit his wrongs. Who says you are a servant?" Jojo muttered something. Long Fei arrogantly shouted, "Are you not going to listen to what I say? I told you to follow me, so follow me." Jojo nodded, then gently, "Oh, one of them." Long Fei continued, "Go and change your clothes. I will wait for you at the door." With that, Long Fei walked out. This time, the leopard girl did not argue and followed, because she knew that the Long family would bring about a bitter battle. Jojo had no one to take care of him, but the palace was actually a relatively safe place. The leopard girl giggled and said, "Shadow sis, let's dress Sister Jojo up. She's so beautiful. If we dress her up again, she'll definitely be dead beautiful." Shadow nodded. "You're right. Jojo was very beautiful, especially that pair of eyes that was filled with spirit energy. She was unforgettable. All these years, she had been wearing the clothes of servant girl and had never been properly dressed up. Half an hour later, the leopard girl giggled as she looked at Jojo. Sister Jojo, you're going to die from being beautiful. Don't you know how beautiful you are? She wore a white dress, with 2 strands of silk flowing down her cheeks to her shoulders. She had a pointy chin, a straight nose, and a flawless yet unadorned face. Her face was white and rosy, and under her long eyelashes, her large eyes twinkled, causing one to be mesmerized, especially his aura, which naturally emanated from his body, which was noble, elegant, and untouchable. He was like a fairy that flew through the sky. The silhouette also followed and said, "Your beauty is something that even women would be jealous of. Go, follow the young lord and search the entire city." The moment Jojo walked out of the courtyard gate, Long Fei's eyes were wide opened. He knew that Jojo was very beautiful. From the first glance, he could tell that she was beautiful, but he never expected her to be this beautiful. It really was like a fairy descending to the mortal world, breathtakingly beautiful. Seeing Long Fei's dazed eyes, Jojo's cheeks flushed red as she muttered, "Xiao, Xiao, young master, what's wrong?" Long Fei recovered and grabbed Jojo's hand, allowing her to hold onto his arm. He said with a face full of joy, "Tonight, just hold on to my arm like this." Too excited to have such a beautiful woman holding his arm, Long Fei didn't even dare dream about it in his previous life. He felt extremely proud of himself. Jojo lowered his head and softly replied, "Machem." Her cheeks were blushing, beautiful, charming, and moving to the point of being a mess. Imperial Palace, Zijin Hall. The place was brightly lit with dazzling splendor. All the handsome men and women of Fireglass City were present. The disciples of the nobles, the geniuses of the major powers, and their descendants. This was a gathering of noble disciples. It was also the first time that all the geniuses in Fireglass Dynasty had come into contact with it. They were here for only one purpose, to seize the championship. If one took first place, they would be awarded the token to become a disciple of the Heaven Sect. They wouldn't even need to take the examination and directly enter the Heaven Sect. Furthermore, they would be heavily rewarded by the Emperor. She would even marry the princess. This was a chance for many people to rise to the heavens in a single step. Suddenly, a voice came from outside the Violet Gold Temple. "Princess Nangong and young master Dongfang Jian from the Heaven Sect have arrived." As soon as his voice faded, all the noble children went up to welcome him. Nangong Yin intimately walked beside Dongfang Jian. With the sound of a sky blue Chong Sam, her hair was like black cloth that scattered onto her back, a slight smile on her face. A proud smile. Seeing that the crowd was welcoming her, she immediately grabbed Dongfang Jian's arm and acted even more intimate. It was also at this time Long Fei and Jojo walked in. Chapter 1, _ 8419/2356506. He had to say it. He had to say it. Nangong Yin was very beautiful. The #1 beauty in the Fireglass City had not come here for nothing. Moreover, this time, the chest of her dress was slightly open, and it was held high by 2 pegs, attracting a lot of attention. Both men and women were attracted to her. Nangong Yin enjoyed the feeling of being the center of attention. Ever since she was young, she had felt that she was the center of attention. No matter where she went, she would always be the center of attention. Dongfang Jian was also smiling with a courteous manner. Nangong Xiao personally went up to receive him, hugged his hands, and said, "Brother Dongfang, it's really great that you can come to Banquet of Forbidden Peak today." Others could not welcome him, but Dongfang Jian was different. He was the son of sect leader Dongfang Xiong, and as long as he had a good relationship with him, there would definitely be benefits. Zhuge Jinxiang and Li Yi also went up to welcome him and said, "Brother Dongfang, how have you been?" Dongfang Jian was the same as Nangong Yin. He also enjoyed being the center of attention. He had a pleased look on his face, and his body was releasing an aura that was superior to others. Here, he was like a king. As the vice sect master son and a peerless genius of the heaven sect, he had the right to be proud and complacent, because he was a disciple of the heaven sect. It's Dongfang Xiong's son. Everyone surrounded Dongfang Jian and Nangong Yin, praising them nonstop. At this moment, a voice rang out, "Wow, who is that girl? She's too beautiful." As soon as he finished, everyone looked over with suspicion as they thought to themselves, "Beautiful." In the entire Fireglass City, who could be more beautiful than Nangong Yin? Nangong Yin was Fireglass City's #1 beauty. Who could compare to her? Nangong Yin's mouth had a disdainful sneer on it. If she was prettier than anyone, she could beat anyone, and she knew how to capture a man's heart. So beautiful. Oh my God, when did Fireglass City have such a beautiful female, heavenly immortal? It's really too beautiful. Who is she? Who is she? I want to know her. I want to know her. Are they letting me live? How can I be this beautiful? I can't take it anymore. I'm going to suffocate. The praises were not only from men, but also from women. To be able to get a woman to praise her beauty, she must be truly beautiful. Quite a few handsomely dressed youths walked up to her in a gentleman's manner. "Beautiful lady, do you know your name?" "My name is Nangong Yao. I'm the 7th prince. My name is Wu Tianyu, and I'm the prime minister. Wu Qingzhou is my father. My name is..." There were countless of handsome men who reported their names and identities in front of Jojo. Their eyes could not leave Jojo at all. Those large, intelligent eyes seemed to be able to bring them into another world. Slowly, the number of people surrounding Dongfang Jian and Dongfang Jian lessened. In the end, even Nangong Xiao went over and surrounded him. Zhuge Tianlong and Li Yi even ran over. There was no one by Nangong Yan's side now, and furthermore, even Dongfang Jian, who was standing beside her, was tiptoeing, making Nangong Yin extremely unhappy. "Humph! I want to see who dares to compete with me." Nangong Yin. Nangong Yin was extremely displeased, like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. More and more people gathered around him. "Why did you bring your groom here? Hey, where did this beggar come from?" Eunuch Lu quickly ordered people to chase him out. "Where did this beggar come from? How can anyone come to banquet of Forbidden Peak?" The beggar, the coachman, was naturally referring to Long Fei. Compared to each and every one of them wearing gorgeous clothing, Long Fei really did look like a beggar on the street. A thin and long robe, without any extravagance, and there weren't any jewelry or accessories on his body, making him look like a poor person. It was completely unfit to be with Jojo. They squeezed Long Fei out. It was also because Elder Lu had good eyes. Seeing Long Fei being squeezed out of the crowd, he trembled slightly and said, "Young Marquis." Just as he was about to say Long Fei's name, Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "Forget it." It was also at this time. Eunuch Lu said in a low voice, "Young lord, the Grand Preceptor has already instructed me to do my best to protect you." Long Fei trembled slightly. He glanced at Lu Hai, but his expression did not change at all. That's for sure. The Long family had been in the Fireglass dynasty for so many years that every head of the family knew that the Nangong family viewed the Long family as their #1 threat. It was impossible for the Long family to not be prepared. Even though Long Sanfeng had not done anything during this period of time, he was not idle. He had activated all of the Long family spies. Lu Hai was one of the spies. The strength of the Long family spies was second only to that of the Long family's army. In the distance, the three sisters walked into the Purple Palace. From far away, Xiao Tiantian saw a group of people encircling one another. The first thing Xiao Tiantian saw was a servant who seemed to have been brought in by someone. "Ha ha! Was Long Fei doing, standing there in a daze?" Yi Zian also saw it and laughed. "What is Long Fei waiting for?" Lu Luoshi warned in a low voice and said, "No one is allowed to tell Long Fei about us being punished." "Got it, eldest senior sister." "Senior sister, you've already said it 18,000 times. Your ears are going to recognize the cocoon." Xiao Tiantian chuckled and ran over. He didn't know if it was because he had ran too fast or because he had pulled open the wound on his back, but the moment he rushed to Long Fei's side, his legs became unsteady from the intense pain. Long Fei's hands moved quickly. With one step, he caught up to Xiao Tiantian. Yi Zian was stunned. Her heart was filled with rage. Little junior sister apprentice, you really are good at doing this. At the same time, she did the same, and it was very lifelike, exactly the same. She slipped and was about to fall, but because she did too much, the whip wounds on her back opened, causing her face to pale in pain. Long Fei was shocked. His left hand moved, and his body slightly leaned back to use one hand to support Yi Zian. Long Fei was unable to stand steadily. He used all the strength in his hands and pulled both of them into his embrace. It was also at this time, Eunuch Lu grabbed onto the opportunity and said loudly, Heaven Sex Lu Laoshi, Yi Zian, Xiao Tiantian has arrived. The voice was very loud, and it instantly attracted everyone's attention. Then, they all looked at Xiang Long Fei. Xiao Tiantian leaned on Long Fei's shoulder with a face full of happiness, and Yi Zian also had a face full of enjoyment, with no intention of leaving. Lu Luoshi also walked over and glanced at the green-faced Nangong Yin from the corner of his eyes, intentionally asking, Young Hero Long, do you still have more shoulders? Finished. She slipped too. Holy **T. Again, Long Fei exerted strength in his right arm and fiercely flicked Xiao Tiantian up slightly. Then, his fingers pulled Lu Luoshi's small hand along with him. Lu Luoshi turned around and leaned right in the middle of Long Fei's chest. Table of contents, Xiao Tiantian also returned to his right arm. The three sisters were leaning into Long Fei's embrace with happiness written all over their faces. This wasn't it. Jojo also walked up. Chapter 2, 8_8419/2356507. What was going on? What was going on? Who is this person? Who is this person? Fuck, who is he? Can you blast it out for me? All the handsome young men were asking, their eyes burning with rage, looking straight at the three women from the Sky Sect, who were all in Long Fei's embrace. In their eyes, Long Fei was just a coachman or even a beggar. How could there be so many women who liked him? Moreover, the three Heaven Sect sisters still purposely fell on his body. What is this? Even Jojo walked towards him. Everyone held their breaths and looked at Jojo with dumbstruck expressions. What is she trying to do? It can't be. My eyes. I don't want to live anymore. After living for so many years, I feel as though I am no better off than a beggar. They had lost all hope, because Jojo walked to Long Fei's side, held Long Fei's left hand, and gently leaned on his shoulder with a face full of blush and happiness. It wasn't an act, it was a feeling. Everyone felt like the sky was about to collapse. Their bodies were all shaking, and they couldn't stand still. They shook their heads and said incoherently, Impossible, impossible, this is impossible. My eyes are going blind. Who is it? Who is it? They were all stunned. The four women were glued to the coachman. This person was dressed like a poor person and did not have the slightest hint of wealth or splendor. How could he be that attractive to women? Were they poisoned? Even Nangong Xiao was startled and asked, Eunuch Lu, who is this person? During the time Long Fei had been training in the great desolate mountain ranges, he had matured quite a bit, and his face had darkened quite a bit. Eunuch Lu looked at Xiang Long Fei, and only after seeing him nod his head lightly did he say, Holy Dragon Mansion, young Master Long Fei. As soon as his voice faded, the entire arena was startled, and the surrounding crowd quickly quieted down. At this moment, Nangong Yan's eyes turned sinister as the muscles at the corners of his eyes twitched. He immediately released a wave of killing intent that seeped into his bones. Moreover, when she saw the four women on Long Fei's body, she was extremely unhappy, like a rooster who had lost a battle. She wasn't as big as Yi Zian. Compared to being cute, she was not as cute as Xiao Tiantian. Competing on temperament, Lu Luoshi was even stronger than her. Comparing their appearances, as a whole. Jojo left her in the street, and the otherworldly aura that he gave off made her feel inferior. None of these 4 women were any worse than her. Furthermore, all of them liked a single man. She was not in a good mood. She wished that Long Fei would kneel in front of her and beg her for her help. She wished that every man would kneel in front of her and beg for her help, including Dongfang Jian. She was very unhappy. He is Long Fei, the one riding the dragon. Wasn't his dragon blood sucked out and turned into trash? What qualifications does he have to come to the banquet of Forbidden Peak? That's right. What qualifications does a broken pubes have to come here? Everyone whispered to each other. Nangong Yin coldly snorted and said, Long Fei, have your Long family members all died? You actually brought a lowly servant to the feast. If you can't woo me, then don't be so hungry. Disdain was written all over his face. Nangong Yin even pretended to be aloof and self-righteous, causing everyone to think that Long Fei had brought a servant to the feast because he was unable to pursue Nangong Yin. Many people looked at Nangong Yin, and it was as if she had found her own center of focus. Am I wrong? Even though we have an engagement, I don't like you at all. All these years, you shamelessly pursued me, and now that you can't catch up to me anymore, you just have to find your maidservant. You truly are lamentable. Have you said enough? Xiao Tian immediately became displeased and said, I have endured you for a long time. If it wasn't for Long Fei, I would have ripped your mouth apart long ago. Yi Zian laughed and scolded. Junior sister apprentice, don't be like a self-righteous bitch. Didn't you see the men beside her exchange with each other? Why are you so angry with such a slut? Nangong Yan's eyes turned sinister, and he shouted, Who are you calling a bitch? Yi Zian was not someone to be trifled with. Stepping forward, she directly stood in front of Nangong Yan, pointed at his nose, and said, I said you are a bitch, and you, Nangong Yan, are a bitch. Shall I repeat it? You, Nangong Yan, are lowly human. Word for word. Xiao Tian immediately walked to Yi Zian's side and chuckled. Senior sister is mighty. Nangong Yan's face turned green and red. His entire body shivered. However, she didn't dare to do anything to them. In terms of strength, they weren't weaker than her. In terms of status, her position as a princess was inferior to their status as the daughters of inner court elders. Compared to nothing, there was no advantage. His heart was filled with incomparable rage. Nangong Yin anxiously said, Big brother Jian. Dongfang Jian slightly shouted, Don't go overboard. Yo, Long Fei smiled faintly, walked up, and said, Isn't this brother Green Hat? Did you check her knee last time? I was drunk that time, and I became hazy. Last time, it wasn't a series of pa, but rather I knelt on the ground and toyed with my lips. That feeling, it doesn't feel good. She gave it to you, right? How about it? Long Fei looked at Dongfang Jian and laughed. Immediately, someone beside him asked, I know about that, but what is it? Or with the mouth. F***CK. You don't even know this? Didn't it appear on the Spring Palace's map when I showed it to you last time? Huh, so that's how it is. That's great. To think that Princess Nangong would know such a trick. We have been getting married for so many years. Who can endure watching a beauty like Nangong Yan? If you want me, I can't help it either. Her voice wasn't loud, but Nangong Yin could hear her very clearly. Dongfang Jian's face became even uglier. He knew that Long Fei was speaking nonsense, but he was still unhappy in his heart, as if his toy had been played around with before. Nangong Yin shouted, Long Fei, come and slander me if you can't get me. Tonight, I will definitely get the Emperor Uncle to rescind this engagement. I want you, Long Fei, to kneel in front of me, Jojo said angrily. You slut young master won't kneel down to you. Wow, so cute. Cursing people is always so cute. Long Fei's luck with women is too good. Nangong Yan's eyes turned sinister as he shouted, You lowly girl, who do you think you are? What status do you have? You don't even have the qualifications to speak to me. Long Fei's eyes were filled with anger. Lu Luoshi moved forward slightly and said, Princess Nangong, who do you think you are? And who do you think you are? Sister-in-law 1-/ plus health. Strongest upgrade system. His aura crushed everything in his path. She was worried that Long Fei would be angered. She knew Long Fei's temper very well. She would really slap him in front of everyone. At that time, the banquet of Forbidden Peak today would not be able to do anything. The Emperor's driving to Chapter 38_8419/2356508. Nangong Hua and Xiao Changfeng walked into the Violet Gold Temple. Nangong Hua and Xiao Changfeng walked into the Violet Gold Temple. The two of them were talking and laughing. Seeing that a group of people were gathered at the entrance of the hall, Nangong Hua laughed lightly. "Why are you not entering?" "Greetings, Your Majesty." Many people kneeled down. The people kneeling were basically the sons and daughters of a certain minister. Nangong Yin also bowed slightly and said, "Welcome, Emperor Uncle." Many people kneeled down to pay their respects, but Long Fei did not move an inch. The ancestor of Nangong had once given an order that the Long family did not have to kneel to anyone in Fireglass Dynasty. That was why the Long family's knees were more precious than gold. With this privilege, Long Fei would of course want to enjoy it. Nangong did not appear to be angry on the surface, but he smiled and said, "Get up, all of you. There are no monarchs tonight, only friends." While they were talking, he walked to Long Fei's side and said, "You must be Long Fei. After so many years, you have grown quite a bit." Long Fei also laughed lightly. "His Majesty the Emperor has also aged quite a bit. I can't really recognize him either." Everyone shivered. This was a huge disrespect to Nangong Hua. Nangong Yin immediately said, "Long Fei, how dare you be so presumptuous towards Uncle Emperor?" One of the imperial bodyguards immediately shouted from beside Nangong Hua, "Long Fei, you dare to be rude to His Majesty?" Nangong Hua laughed. Long Fei was only speaking the truth. "I have indeed aged quite a bit, huh? Come in." Even though he said this, he was still laughing coldly in his heart. He thought to himself, his true abilities are revealed, and he doesn't know how to hide them. Such an arrogant and conceited person won't live for long. "Wait," Nangong Yin suddenly called out. "Emperor Uncle, all the years in Banquet of Forbidden Peak, you have to be a talented genius to be able to participate. I would like to ask, when the pubes is broken, the dragon's blood is sucked out, is this kind of trash with stagnant veins qualified to participate?" Everyone stopped and looked at Long Fei. Xiao Tian was instantly enraged. Without waiting for her to speak, Long Fei took a step forward and said with a smile, "Princess Nangong is right. This kind of trash does not have the qualifications to participate." "Trash? You are even worse than trash." As long as Nangong Yin dared to say something, Long Fei would definitely challenge him. Nangong Yan's eyes turned sinister. Many people said, "Young Marquis Long is the future divine Dragon Marquis. He doesn't have the qualifications to participate." Exactly. They were well aware of Long Fei's strength. If he really wanted to challenge them, they probably wouldn't even have the qualifications to do so. Nangong Yin slightly smiled and said, "The Divine Dragon Marquis naturally has the qualifications to participate. I didn't say that he can't participate. I meant that the servants he brought don't have the qualifications to participate." As soon as he finished, Nangong Yin pointed at Jojo's nose and said, "Do you dare to say that you're not Long Fei's servant? Do you dare to say that you're not a lowly person? Do you dare to say that you have the slightest bit of cultivation? You are nothing. You are just a lowly commoner. You have no right to participate in the Banquet of Forbidden Peak at all," Nangong Yin said in an extremely sharp voice. Jojo took a small step back and hid beside Long Fei. His body was trembling, and he lowered his head. It was as if she didn't belong in this world. It was as if she was an ugly duckling. Facing Nangong Yan's questioning, facing her overbearing attitude, and facing her arrogance, Jojo felt inferior in his heart. He said to Long Fei in a low voice, "Young master, I'll go back to the Long family first." Her heart was in pain. It was not because of her, but because she had lost face for Long Fei. causing Long Fei to feel embarrassed. If it wasn't for him, Nan Gongyan simply couldn't find a place to attack Long Fei. Zhuge Jinxiang said, "If that's really the case, then she doesn't have the qualifications to attend. This is a gathering of geniuses. What does she count as? It's just having a good body. If that's the case, then all of the women from the Yihang courtyard can participate." Li Yi followed, saying, "You are right. Anything is not enough to qualify to attend the banquet. Furthermore, Long Fei brought a low-level servant to attend the banquet. You are insulting the banquet of Forbidden Peak. I think that you do not put His Majesty in your eyes at all. Princess, you're right. If you really are a servant, then you can't participate. Otherwise, you really don't put the banquet of Forbidden Peak in your eyes. This is a banquet that the great ancestor has decided on." Long Fei, seriously, doesn't even know the least bit of respect. Everyone began to talk. Jojo hid behind Long Fei like a frightened little kitten, not daring to raise her head. If Long Fei did not hold her back tightly, she would have run out. Xiao Tiantian's fiery temper flared up, but he couldn't care less, and shouted, "Who said she's a servant? She's my sworn sister, what's wrong?" Yi Zian also said, "She's also my sworn sister." Lu Luoshi said slightly, "Your Majesty, Jojo is the sworn sister of us 3 sisters. Isn't this status enough?" Nan Gonghuo laughed faintly, but did not immediately speak. Nan Gongyan laughed sinisterly. "You 3 sisters are inner sect disciples. Your identities are not fake, but so what if you say that she is the sworn sister? She's still a lowly person, unless she has the token to qualify to enter the Heaven sect." While they were talking, Nan Gongyan immediately brought out his Heaven Sect's medallion, who was prepared to shock everyone. He stared at Long Fei and asked, "Does she have this medallion?" The word inside on the token was especially eye-catching. Everyone was shocked. This is the token only the inner disciples of the Heaven sect possess. Heavens, Princess Nangong has already been specially recruited? So powerful. Princess Nangong is too powerful. All of them stared at Zhang Xian with envious gazes. The reason why they were participating in the banquet of Forbidden Peak was to compete for the position of the outer sect disciples. But Nangong Yin had already obtained the inner sect's order badge, which meant she did not need any assessment to become an inner sect disciple. This identity is extraordinary. Nangong Yin was very pleased with herself, incomparably pleased with herself. Hearing the shocked voices around her, her heart was incomparably superior as she asked again, "Do you have one?" Xiao Tiantian really couldn't hold it back, and really wanted to charge forward and tear Nangong Yan's mouth apart. However, still can't change the status quo. Jojo did not have an order badge. Jojo was almost forced to tears and said softly, "Young master, I'm sorry, I'm useless. I've implicated you. I'll go, you let me go. I'll only embarrass you if I stay." Equals half carrot float, hashtag life carrot Jojo was blaming himself very much, extremely blaming himself very much. She knew that Long Fei was very strong, and that the banquet of Forbidden Peak would definitely shock everyone with one brilliant feat. She didn't want to implicate Long Fei because of her. Long Fei turned around and cupped Jojo's face with both hands and smiled lightly. "Jojo, are you the best? In my heart, you are invincible. You have the qualifications, right?" Long Fei sneered. Chapter 48_8419/2356509. Jojo felt so sad that Long Fei's heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. Jojo felt so sad that Long Fei's heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. It was very hard. Thinking back to that night, when Jojo was willing to give up his body to protect him, Long Fei's heart became incomparably heavy. At that moment, Jojo was invincible in his heart. Jojo was the reverse scale in the depths of his heart. No one could bully him, no one could. You want the qualifications, right? Then, he would fiercely slap Nangong Yan's face with his qualifications. Jojo's tears started to drip from her eyes as she shook her head speechlessly. The three Heaven Sect sisters were also furious. Nangong Yan's face was full of pride. Zhuge Jinxiang, Li's face was also filled with glee. Seeing Long Fei's embarrassed look, they all felt extremely happy in their hearts. Long Fei, take your servant and get lost. Exactly, this is not a place where lowly people like you and trash can come to. Ha ha, go back. A mocking laughter rang out. Nangong was stood quietly at the side, as though he was a spectator watching a show, and did not say anything, as though everything that happened had nothing to do with him. Long Fei pulled Jojo's hand and said quietly, "Jojo, wait for me." Jojo lowered his head and lightly tapped it. Long Fei said to Lu Luoshi, "Help me take care of Jojo. If anyone dares to touch a single hair on her head, kill them." Lu Luoshi immediately nodded his head and asked, "Long Fei, what do you want to do? Don't do anything stupid." "Silly thing. Long Fei, never do foolish things." "Aren't they asking for the qualifications?" Long Fei laughed coldly. "Then I'll give her the qualifications to be above everything else." "They don't understand." Long Fei did not explain. Long Fei walked to the side of Eunuch Lu and asked, "Are there chickens here?" Eunuch Lu was startled. He then looked towards Nangong Hua, who nodded and immediately said, "There should be some in the kitchen. Young Marquis Long, what do you want the chickens for?" Long Fei said indifferently, "Just bring me there." While they were talking, Long Fei stared at Nangong Yin and sneered, and said, "Humph." He harumphed coldly and quickly followed Eunuch Lu. What does he want to do? What can he do? Looking for a chicken? Could he be looking for a female branch? Ha ha ha. Nangong Yin laughed complacently and said, "Low-level servants will forever be low-level servants and will never change, understand?" While they were talking, she looked at Jojo, who had his head lowered, and snorted in her heart. "Fight with me? You don't even have the qualifications to carry my shoes, and you still want to fight with me, humph." She couldn't win against the three Lu Luoshi sisters, no matter what the reason was. However, Jojo was different. Just his identity alone was enough to crush her like 1,000 miles. Furthermore, the more Long Fei thought about it, the more fun it would be for her to hit Jojo. She could feel the anger in Long Fei's heart. Once upon a time, her anger had reached the sky as well. Zhuge Jinxiang and Li Yi also laughed complacently and said, "I think he doesn't dare to stay here any longer, searching for chickens, ha." That's what he said. Xiao Changfeng also said slightly, "Your Majesty, the time has come. Banquet of Forbidden Peak can begin." Dongfang Jian laughed with satisfaction. "Your Majesty the Emperor, why wait for trash?" Nangong smiled faintly and said, "Then," Nangong Yin took Nangong Hua's arm and said coquettishly, "Emperor Uncle, there's plenty of time tonight anyways. Let's wait here for a while longer. I just want to see why Long Fei is looking for chickens." Actually, she just wanted to see Long Fei make a fool of himself. Furthermore, she felt that Long Fei had definitely left the imperial palace. If that was the case, it might have an impact on his father's plan. And then, Nangong Yin then continued, "Uncle Emperor, why not send a guard to keep an eye on Long Fei? This is the crime of bullying the monarch." Nangong Yin gave Dongfang Jian a glance, and Dongfang Jian immediately said, "Princess is right. Bringing a servant here is already disrespectful to His Majesty. If he were to escape again, then he really wouldn't put you in his eyes." Zhuge Jinxiang and Li Yi immediately said, "Right, we will wait for him here. We would like to see what tricks he can come up with." Nangong Hua smiled slightly and said, "This is a banquet for you youngsters, no matter what you say, so what? I will not interfere." He also wanted to know whether Long Fei had escaped, or if he wanted to do something. Immediately, Nangong Hua said slightly, "General Yuan, go take a look." Yuan Bin immediately said, "Yes." He immediately ran to catch up. A group of people stood outside the Violet Gold Temple, waiting. Xiao Tiantian was also secretly anxious in his heart, and asked in a low voice, "Big Senior, what is Long Fei planning to do, and why is he looking for chickens?" Yi Zian did not understand and asked, "Senior sister, you know Long Fei the best. What is he trying to do? Luashi shook his head and said, I don't know either, but I believe he will definitely come back. We'll just have to wait. Jojo bit her tongue as tears rolled down her face. She tried her best not to let her voice escape as she said internally, It's all my fault. It's all my fault. It's all because of me. She had always wanted to change. Watching the three sisters of Luashi step out of the martial arts arena twice to protect Long Fei, watching the leopard girl that Long Fei had brought back from the Great Desolate Mountain Range, watching her shadow. They were both high-level martial artists and had extraordinary combat strength, but what about her? Other than cooking and washing clothes, she could not help Long Fei at all. In this period of time, she had been wanting to break through and cultivate, but no matter how hard she tried, she could not do it. She wanted to be able to cultivate just like Luashi and the others, so that she wouldn't drag Long Fei down and help him. Jojo, don't cry. They will be happier the more you cry. Luashi said calmly. Xiao Tiantian also said, You're so beautiful. Your beauty makes us all jealous. You won't look good if you cry. Yi Zian also said, Yeah, I've never seen a girl as beautiful as you. We're all jealous. Eunuch Lu anxiously followed Long Fei and said, Young master, why are you looking for a chicken? I really don't understand. At this time, Yuan Bin chased after him with large strides, walked to Long Fei's side and knelt down on one knee. Young master. Long Fei trembled. You too. Yuan Bin nodded his head heavily and said, This life of mine was saved by the Grand Elder. The brothers from the palace have all been prepared. As long as you give the order, they can immediately. Long Fei continued to walk forward. His heart was filled with shock as he thought to himself, Grandpa is so awesome. Yuan Bin went up to stop him and said, Young master, don't look for another chicken. It's more important. Eunuch Lu also said, That's right. Young master, the greater picture is the most important. They arrived at the royal kitchen. Long Fei immediately rushed in and saw a chef killing chickens. He immediately stepped forward and said, Let me do it. Immediately, Long Fei immediately summoned his dragon Salyer and slashed down. The idea moved, activate striking attribute. Ding! Chapter 5, 8_8419/2356510. Striking a tribute touch. Striking a tribute touch. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing chicken for obtaining 0 points in experience points, 0 points in True Breath S, and 0 points in Energy Values S. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Phoenix Blood Lineage. At this moment, the Dragon Salyer released a hungry voice, causing Long Fei's heart to tremble, but he immediately shouted out, You cannot touch the blood lineage. Very serious, very serious. Long Fei was really afraid that the Dragon Salyer would absorb him by itself. The Dragon Salyer sunk and slowly quieted down. Long Fei's heart relaxed. He turned to look at Eunuch Lu and said, Return to the Zijin Hall. The two of them were dumbstruck. They didn't understand why Long Fei ran over to the Imperial kitchens to kill a chicken. Even the chef from before was startled. Long Fei walked far away and muttered, Are you crazy? Along the way, Long Fei was extremely excited. If a toad could produce a divine ranked martial technique, why couldn't a chicken reveal a divine ranked blood lineage? Furthermore, Long Fei had not released his striking attribute during this period of time, which caused the accumulated energy to become even more intense. Previously, he did not even use his striking attribute to kill Nangong Lai at the Long family's martial arts arena, because he wanted to leave it for Nangong Hua to see if he could bring out the Dragon Salyer. Nangong Yin was arrogant. Jojo's expression was gloomy, his heart extremely low in self-esteem. Long Fei's heart ached to death. He had always been considering whether or not he should give Jojo some high-level blood lineage as a try. Today, he really couldn't hold it in anymore. Item, Phoenix Blood Lineage Grade. Divine Level Description. The blood of the Divine Phoenix of the Ninth Heaven. The one who is fused with it is only female. Description 2. The Phoenix blood lineage selects a person to fuse with them. Once a person identified by the Phoenix blood lineage is able to fuse with one, the other person is unable to do so. Description 3. The user can obtain endless Phoenix power. Looking at the system's description, Long Fei was secretly shocked in his heart. To be able to compare to the dragon god's blood lineage, it's just that, to choose someone to fuse with this, can JoJo fuse them? Holy Vein and ordinary blood lineage were not connected. It has a certain amount of self-awareness, and once it disagrees, no matter how you fuse it, you can't succeed. Could JoJo succeed? Long Fei was not sure, but he was worried about this all along. He's back. He's back. That brat Long Fei is back. Outside the hall, everyone looked at Long Fei, who had walked into the Purple Gold Academy and revealed a disdainful sneer. Quite a few people laughed and asked, "Young Marquis Long, did you find a chicken? How many eggs did I lay for you? Do you want to find a chicken to eat?" Ha ha! A wave of mocking laughter rang out. Nan Gongyan looked at Long Fei and furrowed her brows tightly. She was incomparably pleased with herself as she mocked. "Long Fei, let's see what else you can do today." Oomph. Dongfang Jian also had a face full of satisfaction. He also hated Long Fei to the bone. Long Fei walked up the stairs and out of the Great Hall. In his heart, he was still worried about whether or not JoJo could fuse with the Phoenix blood lineage. Xiao Tiantian asked in a low voice, "Long Fei, how is it?" Yuan Bin reported truthfully to Nan Gonghua. "Reporting to your majesty, Long Fei only killed a chicken and then returned. He did not try to escape." Nan Gonghua waved his hands, looking at Long Fei with a face full of curiosity. "Why would he want to kill a chicken?" Nan Gongyan laughed complacently. "Long Fei, you've killed chicken too. Now I'll trouble you to bring this lowly place out. Don't treat this as the place where your servants of the Long family stay." "Umph! You actually dare to reveal your lowly status. You really bring shame to the Long family. With a status like yours, you want to become my fiancé? Are you even worthy?" Nangong Yin was as proud as a peacock. JoJo's eyes became watery. He walked to Long Fei's side and said in a low voice, "Young master, I'm fine by myself. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. I am indeed a servant of the Long family." Long Fei heard her voice and felt as if his heart was being pierced by needles. Lu Luoshi also grabbed onto JoJo and said, "Little sister, don't be like this." Long Fei clenched his fists tightly and thought, "No matter what, I have to give it a try." While they were talking, Long Fei took out the Phoenix Profound Beast, and just as he was about to speak, the drop of Phoenix blood essence on his palm couldn't be controlled, and a large amount of power continuously sprayed out. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Deafening sounds of thunder could be heard from the void. Next, was no longer able to control it. He spread open his 5 fingers, and that drop of Phoenix blood lineage flew up into the air. Woo-woo, wah-wah. All kinds of strange bird calls sounded, and countless godlike powers were released. Bam! With the explosion of his blood essence, a golden phoenix flew into the sky, revolving non-stop. Powerful divine energy was constantly released, enveloping the entire palace with this golden radiance, as if a miracle had occurred. Everyone was stunned. He had never seen such a scene before. Furthermore, no one had ever seen the legendary phoenix. Is this a phoenix blood lineage? It really is a phoenix blood lineage. The phoenix blood lineage is going to choose a person to fuse with. She's going to choose a person here. When countless women stood out, these legendary divine blood lineage would choose to fuse together. They would make all sorts of alluring movements at the phoenix silhouettes hovering in midair. Quickly enter my body. I'm the true spirit of the phoenix. It's me. The phoenix blood lineage is mine. They were all bleeding from the head. The phoenix shadow remained unmoved. At this time, Nan Gongyin arrogantly walked out, looked at the phoenix simulacrum in the sky, and said, "I am the phoenix master, and only I have the qualifications to fuse with the phoenix blood lineage." The phoenix shadow let out a cry. Long Fei secretly shouted in his heart, "Fuck, don't tell me you really chose this slut?" Then, he had been worried the whole time. If it was really merged by Nangong Yen, then he was F asterisk king screwed. Hearing the bird cry, Nangong Yen became even more pleased. Did you see that? Spoke to me, I am the Phoenix Lord. Quickly enter my body. Wow! Another cry rang out. And then, the Phoenix shadow swooped down. He swooped down towards Nangong Yen. She had always felt that she was different from the others. So it turned out that she was the master of a phoenix, as long as she fused with a phoenix blood lineage. What could a mere long fei amount to? Huh? Ah! Nangong Yen kept retreating, only to see that the phoenix shadow's claws were actually reaching her face. Her face was pale white, and she was retreating quickly. Plop! Baidu sister-in-law, a half. Floating life, strongest upgrade, system, she fell to the ground, and the Phoenix Phantom angrily roared at her. Wow! The divine power smashed down heavily. Ah! Don't kill me, don't kill me, don't kill me. Nangong Yin quickly knelt down and cowed out. He was so scared that his entire body was trembling, and he was incomparably afraid. He had never been this afraid before, not even when he was kneeling on the ground under Long Sanfeng's pressure back then. Chapter 6, 8_8419/2356511. Was it fusing with Nangong Yen? Was it fusing with Nangong Yen? Or what? Everyone who saw the Phoenix shadow rush down was shocked. Many of the girls even screamed. Nangong Yen was paralyzed on the ground, with one hand covering his eyes. He did not dare open his eyes, but he was afraid in his heart, feeling very proud of himself in the midst of all this fear. Because this could be a sign before the fusion of the Phoenix blood lineage. That must be it. She would become a Phoenix heavenly girl, and will forever be the unparalleled blood lineage. If that was the case, then no matter how insignificant Long Fei was, no matter what the Long family, they would all be stepped on under her feet. Phoenix blood lineage, holy vein. She might not be unrivaled in the world, but after fusing with a sect, she would definitely soar to the heavens. She would have the qualifications to be proud of her existence. However, things were not as she had expected. The Phoenix silhouette let out a hiss, frightening her to the ground. Her body flipped, and her long feathers scattered a bit of golden light. Lu Luoshi dispersed, and Yizin also ran, only to see the Phoenix Phantom standing quietly in front of Jojo, its expression incomparably respectful, as if it was looking at its master. Stunned. Everyone was stunned. Everything happened too quickly and dramatically. Wasn't it about to charge into Nangong Yan's body? Why did it suddenly stop in front of Jojo? Jojo was startled, seeing the Phoenix Phantom radiating with holy light. She crouched down and muttered, "Are you looking at me?" The Phoenix Phantom nodded. Long Fei said, "Jojo, fuse with her." Jojo looked at Long Fei and asked, "Did you choose me?" I don't know anything, not even the least bit of cultivation. Choosing me might be the wrong choice. Why don't you choose Big Sister Luo Shi, Big Sister Ziyin, and Big Sister Tian Tian instead? Facing the holy vein, who wouldn't be moved? But Jojo was thinking about others. If she couldn't help Long Fei, even if she could only fuse the holy vein, it would be a waste. It would be better to let Lu Luoshi and the others fuse them, so that they could push the strength of the blood lineage to the limit, and then help Long Fei even more. She was just that stupid. The three Lu Luoshi sisters were extremely shocked. Compared to Jojo, they felt like they were inferior in their hearts. I asked myself, if they were facing the holy vein, would they be able to do this? Jojo was too kind, too pure. Was there anyone in this world who was not kind and pure? Lu Luoshi slightly said, "Jojo, she chose you to be its master, and only you are able to fuse with it. No one else is allowed to. This is a New Year gift from Long Fei." Yi Zian and Xiao Tian Tian were so moved that they were about to cry. Was moved by Jojo's kindness. Jojo looked at Long Fei, who nodded and said, "Fuse with it." It was also at this time. Nangong Yin crawled up from the ground, his expression ferocious. Like a shrew, he rushed forward and said, The person the Phoenix blood lineage chose is me. What qualifications does a lowly commoner like you have to fuse with it? It is mine. The Phoenix blood lineage is mine. He took a step forward. Long Fei moved and instantly appeared in front of Nangong Yin and slapped down. Bang! Dongfang Jian was quick to react and thrusted his sword out. Shua! The aura of the peak war chief was released, and a strong pressure pressed down on Long Fei's sea of consciousness, causing his speed to slow down. Nangong Yin released the aura of the war chief from his body and dodged Long Fei's slap. Two were enraged, and the sword at his waist directly pierced towards the center of Xiang Longfei's brows. Die. It came too fast. Moreover, Dongfang Jin's aura of the peak war chief was released at full power and was extremely sharp. The two of them exchanged sword attacks. With all their strength, they attacked Xiang Longfei. Longfei's brows sank. The pressure from his cultivation realm started to cause him to panic. Jojo cried out in alarm. Young master, be careful. At this moment, she seemed to have moved her spiritual consciousness. The Phoenix Phantom also rushed into her body. An incomparably mournful cry resounded. Suddenly, Jojo's body floated in the air. His body flickered with an incomparably glaring light. The light grew brighter and brighter. The light continuously condensed, and a pair of rainbow-colored wings appeared on her back, flickering with an auspicious light. Wow! Another hiss sounded, and the light around her body became even more intense. Phoenix Nirvanic Rebirth. Light is fire. Phoenix Nirvana Rebirth. Is fusing with a Phoenix blood lineage like this? Everyone was incomparably shocked. To fuse with a blood lineage, even if it was a fuse holy vein, such a situation would not occur, nor would there be any kind of auspicious light. Who exactly was Jojo? How could he allow the Phoenix blood lineage to recognize him as its master? And with such respect, how could he be reborn from the Phoenix? There were too many things on her that no one could understand. No one present could explain it. In Long Fei's eyes, Jojo was an angel. At this moment, she was flapping her wings, and the messy feathers on her body fell down, turning into starlight that slowly flew up, turning into stars in the dark sky. All of this was too bizarre. Rumble. The sky and the earth resonated, and a loud sound echoed down from the nine heavens. It was as if the sound wanted to resonate and resonate throughout the entire nine nether domain. It was extremely touching. Accompanied by this loud noise, Jojo was reborn. She was wearing a white feather-like dress with a diamond-shaped, crystal-like object embedded between her eyebrows. Her entire body was emitting immortal spirit energy. At this moment, she was a real fairy. Everything in the world felt inferior in front of her, because she was a phoenix fairy above the ninth heaven. And at this moment, Jojo took a step forward, blocking in front of Long Fei. Seeing the incoming swords from Nangong Yin and Nangong Yin, he frowned slightly. Buzz, 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 buzz. A powerful energy shot out from her body. This energy was visible to the naked eye, and it directly bound the two long swords tightly. No more. Moreover, both Dongfang Jian and Nangong Yan's faces were incomparably pale, as they could not withstand the pressure from Jojo's body. Bam! Jojo took a step forward, stood in front of Nangong Yin, moved his two fingers, and directly broke the long sword in half. Then she raised her right hand and slapped it. Pa! He slapped Nangong Yan's face. Jojo said angrily, Young master doesn't like you. Pa! The Grand Preceptor doesn't like you. Pa! Big sister Luo, she doesn't like you. Pa! Elder sister Zi Yin doesn't like you. Pa! Elder sister Tian Tian doesn't like you. Pa! Big sister Shadow doesn't like you. Bang! Equal semi / floating life plus. Sister Bout doesn't like you. Pa! Jojo doesn't like you either. Humph. Jojo said every single slap. Nangong Yin simply did not have the strength to retaliate, and still ended up being slapped down by Jojo. His face was red and swollen. Purple mixed in with his bun. Chapter 88 _ 8419/2356512. Too cool. Too cool. He was simply too cool. Everyone looked at Jojo with stupefied expressions, and they even forgot to breathe. Long Fei also had a face full of shock. He had always thought that he was the face-smacking expert, but compared to Jojo, he was too weak. After slapping his palm, Jojo said angrily, "If you dare bully young master again, I will beat you again." Finished. As if a little girl who had done something wrong, she slowly walked to Long Fei's side and said in a low voice, "Young master, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have hit your fiancé. It's my fault, but I really couldn't help it. He was going to die. That explosive fire just now was now as gentle as water. It was completely different." The key point was that her expression towards Long Fei simply made others so jealous that they wanted to vomit blood. Even Lu Luoxi and the others were just as jealous. Long Fei's finger lightly scratched the bridge of Jojo's nose and muttered, "Silly girl, what are you saying? However, you were wrong just now. It was too dangerous and you had to be punished." "Ah, oh." Jojo lowered his head even further as he muttered in a low voice, "Then why didn't you hit my little fart?" After he finished speaking, he placed his little fart in front of Long Fei. That perky little fart. Countless images appeared in his mind. Puff. Bullsh asterisk T. A man spat out a mouthful of blood. Several men were bleeding from their noses. Do you want to live? Not only are there so many women around us, each of them is more powerful and savage than the other. F asterisk CK. Lousy doesn't want to live anymore. I don't want to live anymore. Compared to Long Fei, I'm not even as alive as a dog. I want to go home. That's too much of a blow. The hearts of countless men shattered. Indeed, compared to Long Fei, they were like the clouds in the sky above the clouds. With Jojo's sudden change, just now, they didn't even have the qualifications to compete. It was too humiliating. Long Fei laughed blandly. "If I don't spank your head today, I'll punish you to kiss me." Huh. Jojo's face immediately flushed red. She went up to Long Fei's face and kissed it, her cheeks turning as red as an apple's. Beautiful, moving, and incomparably enticing. It was too beautiful. Long Fei's heart rate increased. The beauty was suffocating. This action made everyone even more crazy. He really doesn't want to live anymore. I can't take it anymore. I don't want to live anymore. Long Fei is so handsome, so gentle. I really want him to smack my ass. This show of love and kindness was simply a strike to the point of 1,000,000 damage. It was too sharp. Xiao Tian stood up and looked at Long Fei. "Lend Jojo to me for a moment." Before she finished speaking, she gave Jojo a fierce kiss on his face and said excitedly, "Jojo, you're too handsome. So handsome that it's crappy. Ha ha. I wanted to tear apart that bitch Nangongyan's mouth for a long time. Those dozen of slaps from you were too cool. From now on you are my idol, haha." Every time she saw Nangongyan, she felt displeased. She couldn't help but tear her mouth apart every single time. But with her status and strength, she knew that it was impossible for her to succeed. Now, Jojo had done something that she didn't dare to do, and she was even so overbearing and arrogant. Lu Luoxi and Yi Zian were the same. It was just that they were a little more reserved and did not express as if they were as excited as Xiao Tian. However, their hearts were the same, incomparably excited. It was also at this moment Nangongyan regained his senses, his face red, swollen purple, his head in a mess, as though he was a crazy woman, his eyes burning with anger, and he roared hysterically, "I want to kill you! I want to kill you!" Nangong was suddenly shook and shouted, "Nangongyan, have you caused enough trouble?" His expression immediately changed. He had never thought that Long Fei would actually have a phoenix blood lineage. What was even more unimaginable was that Jojo could actually make the phoenix itself recognize him as its master. What was her identity? Was it really picked up from the outside by Long Sanfeng? Jojo was too mysterious. She was probably the only person in the entire continent that could make the phoenix automatically recognize him as its master. And then again, who was at the peak of the war chief, did not even have the slightest chance to retaliate. The slap on Nangong Yan's face did not even have a chance to react, as it was completely blocked. Very, very strong. In less than a minute, Jojo was no longer a servant. Moreover, it was the Phoenix Fairy, a supreme existence. This way, the Long family's power would be greatly increased. He couldn't afford to offend him. At the very least, they couldn't offend him now. At the very least, they would have to wait until Nangong Lei had defeated the Long family. Nangong Hua shook, and the pressure in his voice immediately stunned Nangong Yan. Nangong Yan was greatly humiliated. When had he ever been in such a sorry state? Having been fiercely slapped in the face of so many people, and to say that it was a servant whom she had always looked down upon. Yet now, in just a short moment, she had become a fairy from a phoenix. Just based on her identity alone, she was thrown 100,000 miles away. Nangong Hua walked to Jojo's side with respect and said, "Miss Jojo, we will bestow you the title of Phoenix Princess and allow you free passage within the Imperial Palace. From now on, we will treat the Imperial Palace as your home." Jojo glanced at Long Fei. Long Fei nodded his head and then bowed slightly and said, "Thank you, Your Majesty." Nangong Hua glanced at Long Fei from the corner of his eyes and felt a chill in his heart. The reason why Jojo accepted the bounty was entirely because Long Fei nodded her head. Otherwise, she would definitely not have agreed to it. At this moment, Long Fei walked to Nangong Yan's side and asked, "Princess Nangong, may I ask if Jojo is qualified?" Nangong Yan's face twitched, his eyes were filled with blood. He almost wanted to pounce on Long Fei and eat him. Xiao Tiantian also came forward and said, "Do you have the qualifications now?" Yi Zian also followed and said, "Do you have the qualifications now?" Lu Luoshi then struck out with his fist. "Your Majesty, this person's head is in a mess, his mind is muddled. What if he injures someone in the banquet of Forbidden Peak? I propose to disqualify her." Right. Disqualify her. Xiao Tiantian immediately followed. "We must disqualify this madman. What if the one who bites doesn't have a bite, even if it doesn't bite the person, bite the dog, cat, or whatever else is bad?" Yi Zian also said, "Equals semi/floating life plus." Nangong Yan was spitting fire. It was spewing fire nonstop, and smoke was rising from the top of his head. Jojo muttered, "I don't like her." Nangong Hua's brows slightly tightened as he faintly smiled and said, "Since that's the case, then I—" The previous chapter was Chapter 7, and this chapter was Chapter 8. 8_8419/2356513. It was also at this time. Dongfang Jin took a step forward and said, "Your Majesty, little sister Yin has been disgraced. I will bring her down to change her clothes. You two can enter the Great Hall." Dongfang Jin's identity was different. Nangong did not dare to easily offend him. Moreover, he never thought of letting Nangong Yin leave the banquet of Forbidden Peak. This banquet was specially designed for Long Fei. Without Nangong Yin, this scene would not be easy to sing. Moreover, there were still no movements outside the city, so Nangong Lei should have not attacked the Long family. At this time, he had to let Nangong Yin hold him back so that he could not return, and the Long family would lose an arm. Nangong Hua immediately said, "All right, then I'll listen to you." Finished. Nangong Hua smiled slightly and said, "The time has come. Everyone, enter the Great Hall." Dongfang Jin supported Nangong Yin and growled, "If you want to take revenge, if you want to stomp Long Fei under your feet, then you have to listen to me. It's useless to get angry like this. We want to stomp him to death on the stage. We want to disgrace him, understand?" Dongfang Jin supported the deranged Nangong Yin into the side hall. Dongfang Jin looked at the back of Long Fei as he walked into the Great Hall and said with a low voice, "Long Fei, this is only just the beginning. Just you wait." Fireglass City. The Nangong Imperial Manor was brightly lit. Nangong Jun's 8 great generals stood in the courtyard and looked at Nangong Lei heavily. Nangong Lei's eyes were ice-cold as she said in a deep voice, "Banquet of Forbidden Peak has started, and the time has come. We have begun to act, and this time we will definitely uproot the Long family." Huh! The 8 people shouted in unison. Next, Nangong Lei looked at the black-robed old man and said faintly, "Master, if I succeed today and I become the emperor in the future, I will grant you the title of imperial teacher." The old man in black smiled. "Don't worry, I will lend you a hand." Nangong Lei said, "Thank you, master." Release the signal. A sky cannon flew into the air. It was also at this time. The corner of Zhuge Tianlong's mouth turned into a cold smile, and he said, "The emperor's palace has already begun their operations." "Father, Zhuge Yuan's eyebrows tightened as he said solemnly, "Now is the time when the Long family is at their weakest in the past few thousand years. We must kill him in one strike and make sure that he will never be able to rise again. Tonight, cooperate fully with Nangong Lei. We must take down the Long family. However, our Zhuge army must conserve our strength. Nangong Jun will definitely suffer a huge loss this time. When that happens, it will be time for us to fight with the Li family for the position under the heavens." Zhuge Tianlong immediately said, "Your child has already properly arranged everything. Father, you can rest assured." Zhuge Yuan said, "Yes. Lunatic Long, I'm coming. Today, I will smash you to the ground." Zhuge Tianlong ordered, "Release the signal cannons." Whoosh! Boom! The divine Zhuge family also fired a signal cannon. Li martial arts sect. Li Chongtian started laughing excitedly. "They're here. Nangong Imperial Manor, Zhuge Tianlong, and the others are starting to make their move. Huh? Our chance has come. Dad, I've already prepared all the Li family troops. Within 3 days, 80,000 Li family soldiers will enter the Fireglass City under the banner of protecting the Imperial City. When that happens..." Li Chongtian laughed sinisterly. Li Tianyang was satisfied. "You did well. This is the best chance for our Li family to hibernate for so many years. With the destruction of the Long family, the Nangong Imperial clan would not be able to survive. When that time comes, our Li family will be in the world. Ha ha." Li Chongtian immediately followed. Signal. 3 pillars all had their own reasons. However, tonight, their goal was the same, to completely cooperate with Nangong Lei and pull out the nail that had been stuck in the Fireglass City for 10,000 years. With the destruction of the Long family, the Nangong Imperial clan was completely ruined. At that time, no matter what, tonight, the goal was to make the Long family disappear from this world. Long family. Long Zhanhai quickly walked to Long Sanfeng's courtyard and said, "Father, they have already begun to move." Long Sanfeng looked in the direction of the Imperial Palace and muttered, "I wonder if Xiao Fei will be in danger. I have a feeling that something big will happen tonight." Long Fei was the person he was most worried about. Just now, waves of golden light burst out from the direction of the palace. Just what was it? He didn't know. However, he was even more worried. Nangong Ho was not as simple as he thought he was. Furthermore, compared to the 3 pillars, the Nangong Imperial clan was extremely strong. Even the combined 3 pillars wasn't a match for him. Especially Nangong Wudi, no one knew what his cultivation level was. This was his greatest worry. Long Zhanhai said, "Father, you can rest assured. There will be heavenly help for Long Fei, and there are so many of us in the palace. He will definitely protect Xiao Fei well." Long Sanfeng clenched his fists tightly and said, "Things are already like this. Whether we live or die, it all depends on tonight's battle. Zhanhai, tonight we must fight to the death. We must support Xiao Fei as soon as possible. Compared to here, the palace is even more dangerous." Long Sanfeng was very clear of this point. Long Zhanhai immediately replied, "Understood." In the backyard at the back mountain, the leopard girl looked up into the night sky and muttered, "Big brother Long Fei, we're about to begin. How are you doing over there?" Xiao Bai said, "Rest assured, Master will definitely be fine. Furthermore, The ice and fire are still by his side. The silhouette also walked out from the darkness and said, "He will definitely be fine." Many people were concerned about Long Fei. The Long family's army was also worried. In Nangong Imperial City, a young eunuch hurriedly walked in from outside the Zijin Hall and whispered something into Nangonghua's ear. Nangonghua's face was expressionless as he replied lightly, "Got it." He thought excitedly in his heart, "It's about to begin." Haha. No matter what, the fight between the Long family and the Three Pillars is a benefit of my Nangong Imperial family. Today, as long as we can obtain the upper half of the Dragon Salure on Long Fei's body, I will be able to grasp the secret of the Dragon Salure. If that's the case, Nangong was so excited that he could not help but look at Xiang Longfei. Longfei truly ate meat big and drank from big bowls. He didn't pay any attention to the astonished gazes around him. Humph! Nangong coldly snorted in his heart. Long Fei, after tonight, there will no longer be a Long family in this world. Young master, slow down. Long Fei, you reincarnated hungry ghost. Can't you eat slower? The four girls looked at Long Fei, who was unceasingly feeding Long Fei. Lu Luoshi and the other two were completely confused as they looked at Long Fei. Long Fei laughed. "This is too delicious. This is royal food. Of course I have to eat more." Baidu's sister-in-law, AA half. Floating life, strongest upgrade system, Zhuge. Jinxiang laughed disdainfully. Earth leopard. Li Yi also laughed. Even beggars on the street can't compare to this. At this moment, Long Fei suddenly stood up and said, "Your Majesty the Emperor, we've finished eating. Can we begin now?" Chapter 9, 8_8419/2356514. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.